Welcome back to another episode of Gorman on Gore, a podcast about horror films. I am Peter Gorman, your host. With me, as always, is my co-host, Jacob. Say hello, Jacob.
Hey. What's up?
Also say hello to Jacob's dog, Clover.
Oh, yeah. He's getting real excited. Hey. What? Jesus Christ. That's terrible. It's like she was completely fine until I started talking. It's just like the act of talking is like.
Yeah, it's very upsetting to a dog. Having you interact with anything other than the dog.
Yeah.
Alright, have a nice drink of water there.
It'll work itself out.
One day, I will get you to just put... I'm starting to think we just put like blankets over your whole apartment or, wherever the hell you are. Just over everything.
Yeah. Clever.
Live in a little kid fort, with like a blanket roof.
I will actually have to put you outside if you keep this up. I'm very sorry.
Well, there is a dog here as well. My nephew's dog. I can't think of her name. Well, whatever. Anyway, she makes a lot of noise too, but hopefully it won't come in on this mic.
Yeah. This is really more of a me problem.
Oh, I'm not gonna leave all this in. Wouldn't that be great though if we never even have the episode? We just sit and just listen to your dog for like an hour.
No, okay, I'm sorry. For the record, you have to keep the dog audio in. It's weirder if it's not, because then you just have me reacting to nothing.
Well, I mean, a lot of sound editing stuff will deaden noises, but it won't get rid of everything, especially clicky noises. And Clover's definitely making some clicky noises.
Yeah.
But yeah, it will be weird if we fix this later and be like, oh man, this dog. And it's just you hear dead silence.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever watch a YouTube video and there's always somebody who's just oh wait, I gotta stop. A plane's flying overhead.
Yeah.
They always fix it, so then it just sounds insane. They're just just dead silence while they just sit there and look uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Well, if you fixed it, you should have cut that part out.
Well, exactly.
Okay.
Well, so anyway, we're talking about movies or something?
So how many of these have we done now? 6 or 7, I think?
Sounds about right.
Needless to say, I'm still working out the kinks. I'm in Washington State, and Jacobs is down in California. So if our audio sounds kind of weird, it's probably a combination of the relative weirdness of our setup and my complete lack of experience in audio engineering. Be that as it may, I'm really enjoying figuring it out, and I hope the listeners out there are enjoying themselves too. Hand over heart.
Oh,
we're just so honored you chose us.
Yeah, as someone who listens to podcasts myself, I love this kind of thing.
All right.
It's like the best part of a podcast is where we get highly derailed.
Yeah. For those of you new to our podcast, we dive into horror films. We spoil every little detail. We pick it apart and we rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. We alternate, Jacob and I, who picks the next horror film to watch. Each time we do, we try to choose something different from the one we just watched, just to keep things fresh and interesting for our listeners. And perhaps more importantly, for ourselves. I mean, right?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I had the pick. Yeah, so I picked for today's episode. And I was thinking we are way overdue to do a zombie movie. I mean, right? This deep in?
I suppose so, but I've never been I guess I'm not really a zombie guy.
Really?
Yeah, I probably would have just never picked a zombie movie if you hadn't done it.
Wow, okay. I'm sort of an old school zombie boy where, I grew up with all the originals. I briefly had a disenchantment with the fast zombies, but I think I've warmed up to them in the last couple of years.
Okay.
Honestly, I prefer zombies that aren't well explained. There's two kinds of zombies, essentially. There's infected zombies, it's a biological thing. This is much more modern, where they try to explain it, kinda. And then there's just sort of magical voodoo zombies, and that's really more my jam. I'm all about zombies that don't make sense.
No, yeah, I mean, zombies are kind of ridiculous concepts, so don't, the more you try and explain them, the more you get me at, thinking and asking questions, which are invariably silly and illogical.
Yeah. Speaking of which, yeah. But nevertheless, I mean, what sort of self-respecting horror cast omits such a cornerstone of the genre? I mean, we gotta do it.
Okay, no, I mean, fair enough, I'm just saying.
Okay.
Not a big zombie guy.
So, for this week, I chose Return of the Living Dead, Rave to the Grave. Just kidding, I chose 28 Days Later.
Oh man, okay, let's start this off on the right foot. I might have preferred that.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. For being entirely honest here.
So who are you?
Wake up today in hospital. Wake up and I'm hallucinating.
I've got some bad news.
They're infected.
Infected!
What?
Infected with what?
Oh, I shouldn't have done that.
It's the blood. There's something in the blood.
Lesson 1. You never go anywhere alone unless you've got no choice.
Hello?
Lesson 2. You only travel during daylight unless you've got no choice.
See, this is a really shit idea. You know why? This is obviously a shit idea.
We have to leave now. More will be coming. They always do.
They're dead. And you're gonna be next.
I remember there was one that Uwe Boll, however you say his name, he made a dance party zombie movie. I couldn't remember the title of it. If I had, I would have said that instead.
House of the Dead?
I want to say House of the Dead. That might be it, yeah.
Yeah, that one's fun because it, when they're killing zombies, they'll put up little, clips from the game in all its low-resolution glory in the middle of the action.
Oh my god, that really sounds dreadful.
It's a really brilliant artistic choice on his part. Brave, honestly.
And also, just to point it out, that's Jacob's dog chewing on a chew toy. It's not an animal dying in the background.
No.
Not this time.
Yeah, not yet. Oh god, okay.
Funny.
You know what? New rule, we actually can't reference the dog because that just excites her more, and then she comes over here. It's like, I mean, I love her, but it's like, you were doing so well, just sleeping on the bed.
Maybe eventually we'll become like a Dr. Demento show where we just have silly sound effects for everything, and maybe then we will just have a squeak toy in the background.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
So the days are numbered, Jacob. That's the very literal tagline of this movie.
Ooh, man. That's bad.
I love that
That's
that's the most humdrum, normal sounding thing ever.
Oh god, I thought you were making a joke.
No.
Like, I thought you were like setting up something funny. That's just what they did. Why?
Heaven forbid. No, I don't do anything funny, Jacob. I mean, come on, let's be serious here.
Well,
No,
fair.
that's the tagline. Yeah, I was baffled when I saw it. I just love that it's just so deadpan. It's also a fact. The days are numbered.
Yeah,
So yeah.
28 of them.
Well, I just mean also the days of our lives, of the world, are numbered.
I guess that's true, yeah.
It's almost like a bizarre philosophical point. Like, yeah, I suppose we do. You know, no matter what we do, our days are numbered.
Really makes you think.
All right. So we got some great young British stars to be in this one. We got Cillian Murphy before he was in every Christopher Nolan film. We have Naomi Harris before she became Moneypenny in the Daniel Craig Bond movies.
I feel like I've seen her in other things. I looked it up on IMDb. And
I must have seen Naomi
interesting.
Harris in at least one other thing. And indeed you have. Because she's very identifiable.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. That wasn't a very interesting story. I'm sorry I shared it.
No, I wasn't mocking you. I just mean, like, that's kind of how I was too. Because when I was watching the movie, because when I first saw this movie years ago, I didn't know any of these people. They were unknowns on purpose to add to the immersion. Or at least for a while. And then Brendan Gleeson shows up later. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But at least for a while, you're like, wow, this could be like real people. But going back and watching this, it is very funny to be like, hey, it's Cillian Murphy and Naomi Harris from James Bond.
Yeah, Christopher Eccleston. It's like, now it just feels like, geez, they were just like casting everyone.
Yeah. Christopher Eccleston before he played Destro in that horrible G.I. Joe movie. Christopher Eccleston
and then,
before he played the Dark Elf Malekith in the worst Thor movie.
yeah, I was going to say, the one Marvel movie everyone forgets about.
Yeah. And lastly, Christopher Eccleston before he burned bridges with the Doctor Who people.
Okay, you know what?
That might be controversial. I'm actually not sure. Yeah, that might not be true.
I was gonna ask, did he? But then I didn't want to actually talk about Doctor Who.
Like, no, let's not touch that. That's radioactive.
Sir,
please. This is a civilized podcast. We do not mention Christopher Eccleston.
No, I just don't like talking about Doctor Who because I just don't like Doctor Who very much.
Oh no! See, now you've done it. You touched the third rail. You're
electrocuted. Oh yeah, whatever. Get mad. Sorry.
No, I don't like it either. So I mean, you can hate both of us. It's fine. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
My family will put it on for the Christmas episodes for some reason. We don't watch the rest of them. We just watch these weird things out of context, and we're like, that's kind of cute and British.
Huh.
Maybe that's just our family.
That's kind of interesting. No, that's not like a tradition for us.
I think it's for Whovians.
That's even. Oh man. Oh yeah, I forgot there's like a special nerd term for people like Doctor Who.
Yeah, Whovians. Or at least I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so before we get into the details, would you recommend this movie, Jacob?
Yeah, I suppose so. Again, not a big zombie guy, but I mean, there are moments to it.
Okay. I
will say this. All the scenes that I really like in this movie are the ones that don't have zombies in them. I'll say this. If the movie was just that beginning part with the famous opening, shot, and then just 4 people chilling out in the British countryside during an apocalypse, going around doing stuff, it'd be like, yeah, sure, you know what, this is actually pretty good.
It'd be like a Euro art film.
Yeah, but then the movie takes a turn later on, and I'm just not into this.
Ooh, wow. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I absolutely would recommend this movie. I love it, actually. But I think it might have just been because it hit me at a certain time. Well, I don't know. I think it also speaks maybe to the kinds of horror movies I like. And it's a very specific thing, and I have trouble describing it, but it's sort of like when there's a real clear good and evil in the film. It doesn't necessarily mean like good wizards or or some kind of force for good. But what I mean is they're both very well developed. Like there's a balance to badness and goodness in a movie where bad things happen. I really enjoy that. So
Okay, yeah, I think I get what you mean, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just I like movies that are melodramatic. I'm not sure.
Do you mean like when there is like an equal force of good that is combating the evil in some way, rather than just like
I do
the
like
evil
that
going
too.
around killing people?
Well, no, I guess more, I don't know. I guess I mean it in more of a symbolic way. I just mean like there's a real bad habit, especially in older horror films, where they just set up a bunch of bad people that you hate just so that you can kind of relish watching them die horribly.
Yeah.
And there is a place for that. But I like it.
Yeah.
I like it when you set up stakes.
Also, to be clear, that place is in the garbage bin.
I like some of them. I mean, I want a certain amount of humanity, but also I do like it when people try to make a point. So I don't know. Maybe I just like it when it's just a little bit either philosophical or magical or abstract. It doesn't have to be any one particular thing. But yes, I also do like it when there's literally a magical force of good in an evil movie. That is a super narrow genre. I think I can only think of like a handful of movies where that happens. Or at least where it happens and it's good. It almost never happens.
Mm-hmm.
Remember like in The Craft when the main character, I was going to say Neve Campbell, but no, she wasn't the main character. Whoever the main character lady is, she runs into the witch store, and that lady is just a witch, and she has powers, and they don't even really talk about it. She's just like, hey, come hang out in my seal in the back room. I'll keep you safe from your suicide thoughts that like your evil friends are giving you or whatever. And then she just leaves for no reason. So, I mean, it's almost unrelated. It's just like, oh, well, this is apparently a thing also. I'm here. I'm not going to help you or anything, but it's just like to establish that it exists.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I've lost my point. Anyway, in this movie, I just like that the people, they're very real feeling to me. They feel very real, and they have nice perspectives. In a movie that is so ridiculously bleak, it is also unbelievably hopeful, which I really enjoy.
Yeah.
It's a weird bittersweet mix,
so.
I guess,
Yeah.
Also, yeah, this is the movie that got me into Godspeed You Black Emperor, because they have their song East Hastings in this at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
And like all of their songs, it's like 20 minutes long and it goes on forever, so they had to just cut the hell out of it just to make it fit the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, I think I did. I bought the soundtrack to this movie trying to find that song, and then it wasn't even in there because apparently they only had the rights to use the song in the movie, but not in the album.
Oh man, that would suck. That's like why you would buy that soundtrack.
Yes, that's true. However, all the other songs are pretty nice too, or at least most of them. So I don't feel bad. I still own that album.
Yeah, no, I mean, like there are good songs in the movie. I'm just saying that, like, if you're getting the soundtrack, it is like almost certainly because you saw that same ride.
Absolutely. Yeah. Although if there was a Shaun of the Dead scene, where we're choosing records to fling at a zombie, I mean, I might fling the 28 Days Later album and not feel bad about it.
Yeah.
If I had it physically. I bought it on iTunes. And this is back in, like, early iTunes. I think it was, I want to say, like, it can't have been 1996, right? Maybe it was. It was really early. I'm just going to, like, play it safe for my own bad memory and say it was early 2000s. Oh, no, it has to have been, because the movie came out in 2002. So, no, yeah, it's got to have been, yeah. You know what?
Oh, yeah.
Never mind what I said earlier. That's not true. So, without further ado, let's get into it, shall we?
Yes, let us sink our teeth into this movie.
Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Truly, you are the wind beneath my wings. There's a false start right at the beginning, which I love. I don't know why I like a little bit of misdirection, but I think that's fun. You know, where they're just showing all this riot footage, and you think like all these other classic zombie movies, that's usually how it starts, right?
Yeah. That felt very Zack Snyder.
Yeah. You know what? His movie came out just 2 years after this one. So I would say that, like most of Zack Snyder's things, he probably took almost all of his better ideas from this movie.
Yeah, I believe that.
It's important to me to throw some Zack Snyder shade now that he's been allowed to make yet another cut of one of his wretched DC movies.
Oh, man.
Someone's got to stop this man. Oh, boy.
I mean, I have to, like, admire him at this point.
I guess.
Man, imagine getting Warner Brothers to shovel out the money to make a 4-hour-long Justice League movie after... Did the first one even do that well? I don't think it did.
I mean, it did okay, I think.
Yeah. But it's like, there's something to that. I mean, like, or I guess, like, you have to, if nothing else, you have to admire the fan tenacity.
Yeah. Look who's come crawling back.
Like, here's the thing. I'm absolutely going to watch that. All 4 hours of it.
For the listener, it hasn't come out yet, so yeah.
Yeah. And, like, here's the thing. It's probably going to be bad, but how funny would it be if it was actually good?
Oh, man. Yeah, like if it's like the best movie ever.
No, or even just like a really good superhero movie, and then it's like Zack Snyder is completely vindicated. And we all have to eat shit.
Oh, I do not accept that reality. I can't imagine that happening.
Oh, but that's
what if it
so
did?
funny for like I know, but it would be really funny.
It would kind of blow my mind,
yeah. You know, I'll just kind of have to admit, damn it. Okay, so maybe the problem with these other movies is that Zack Snyder just didn't have enough control.
He was misunderstood the whole time.
Yes. Like, imagine this being the first of many Snyder cuts.
Oh, God. He's gonna go back and fix them all. One by one.
That could be our reality, our hell.
I want to remake 300, but I want them to hate the Persians even more. You got it, Zack Snyder. All right, anyway. This is not the podcast for that.
Okay, I am so sorry. I do have another reference to Zack Snyder coming up, so like this is not over.
Well, I mean, he did make Dawn of the Dead, which came out soon after this film, so I feel like you can try to twist it in that way if you want.
Well,
just sneak it in.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's footage of violence and confusion. It turns out to be playing on, it looks like 7 monitors for a chimpanzee strapped to a table in a real grim-looking lab.
Yeah.
I like it because it's like a 90s future lab. What I mean is, if you've ever seen a bad 90s movie of like an evil guy, like an evil corporation or an evil lab, it always looks like this, where it's like a lot of grays and just darkness.
Yeah, I was going to say, it felt very early Resident Evil. The movies, to be clear, not the games.
I don't even know how the early Resident Evils looked. I didn't play any of them until 4, I think.
Really?
Huh. There was an offended silence from Jacob.
No, I'm not. No, I was just a little bit more surprised. I feel like a lot of people at least got their start with like 2.
Yeah. But, I don't know if I had the proper console. I don't know. I was poor and wretched, so I even when I had the right console, I didn't always have the right money. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to start things off with an obscure tangent, another obscure tangent, but almost the same scenario as this scene happened in the Street Fighter film from the 1990s, when Blanca's getting brainwashed by evil footage.
Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah. And it's like, in that movie, it's like a child designed the lever or whatever, so there's like a good setting and an evil setting.
Yeah.
And that one, so like you pull the lever down and it's all violence and war. And then when you pull it up, it's like Gandhi and like people laughing and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Like Martin Luther King making a speech.
Yeah.
Except this time it's a chimp rather than Charlie Blanca or whatever that guy's name was. At the Cambridge Primate Research Center, I only know this because it says it on the security monitor. A chimp is laid out flat on a table, subjected to, the monitors playing scenes of violence, but it's all human-related violence, which seems weird to me because it seems like if you wanted to give evil traits to a chimp, you would show footage of chimps being mean to each other.
Yeah.
Chimp on chimp violence.
Well, yeah, it's like a chimp's not going to have any context for any of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, after watching it, he'd just be like, man, humans suck.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or maybe the chimps are being trained to kill humans, and so he wants, or, whoever, the scientists want the chimps to be used to struggling and screaming people.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess this may be a good point to bring this up. What is the purpose of making a rage virus?
It's unclear. I have some guesses.
Please, feel free.
I'll get to the part where the scientist does say a few stumbling words about it, so I'll just get to that part. So the security monitor shows a bunch of masked people break in. There's these 3 eco-terrorists. They wander into the lab, they take pictures, they see the chimps on the tables. There's a dissected one on an operating table. Anyway, a lab technician walks in on them while they're already in there, and he's got coffee in his hands, like a coffee cup. So I guess he must have been on his break. And so he tries to make a break for it, and they grab him. And they try to explain, well, what are you doing this? What's going on here? And he's just like, no, you can't let the chimps out there infected. And, it's actually not a super implausible scenario. My stepdad used to be a caterer at the University of Washington. And almost every year, activists would break into the various labs and release animals. So it'd be like a flood of like mink or whatever, just usually rats, just like scurrying everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it does happen. So anyway, the technician says, in order to cure, you must first understand, which can mean a lot of things. I think he's trying to isolate aggression so that he can remove it. Maybe?
I guess.
Or at least that's the only good theory I have.
Yeah, that's like that still feels so flimsy because, like, why do you need angry chimpanzees? Which, like, first of all, you can just piss a chimpanzee off. Why do you need a virus for that? Just
so he says
poke it.
In order to cure, you must first understand. But he doesn't say what he's curing. So it could be that they're already dealing with a disease they don't know about, and he's just trying to figure it out. Or the curing is something bad in ourselves, and he's fixing something inherently wrong in mammalian nature, or maybe in ape brains. Maybe he thinks he can, like I said, isolate aggression or badness or something, but I don't know why you would want to bring it up. Like, why would you dial it up to 11 in order to remove it?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, this is also the plot line for Shakma. The baboon.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
where they're putting a chip into Shakma's little baboon brain, and he's like, I don't remember what exactly they say, but it's something along the lines of, all right, we're gonna get rid of all of his aggression, but it's almost a little bar that they just have flipped the wrong way. They're like, oh crap, we screwed it up. Now he's super aggressive.
It's like the episode of the Halloween episode of The Simpsons with the evil Krusty doll.
Yeah. Somebody flipped this thing to evil.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The technician does say the chimps were given an inhibitor. It's a shame they didn't have more inhibitor on hand, I have to say.
Yeah.
Even with an inhibitor, the chimps are losing their minds. And spoiler alert for moments later, they totally infect these people. So, what are they inhibiting? Were they even crazier before?
Yeah, okay, also, I will say this. There are, of course, ethical concerns with freeing animals and whatnot without getting any kind of way to care for them. Yeah, and, legal stuff, whatever, I don't care. But chimpanzees. Even a normal chimpanzee, I just wouldn't want to free one. That just seems like a real bad idea.
Well, I would do it from a distance, somehow. Like maybe a little like
I-
timed bomb on the lock just so that he'll get out, but then I won't be there, so he won't tear my face off.
Well, yeah, because like even a normal chimpanzee can still bite your face off if it just like feels like it.
Yeah, I feel like they wouldn't all want to do that because that almost felt like a revenge thing for that lady who brought a birthday cake for another chimp at a chimp reservation. They were just mad at her, and so they took it out on her face. I think a regular chimp is, I feel that they would be more likely to, like just casually break your arm and then yank on it, Just like, ah!
Yeah. Yeah.
That seems like a chimp thing to do. Just like, oh,
Yeah.
wow, your arm is weaker than a tree branch.
Yeah. Like that, yeah, that sure is funny. Look what I did.
Yeah. I hear that a chimp can lift a motorcycle over their heads.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah. I believe it. I never verified it.
Sorry, I believe it.
I agree with you. I mean, there's 3 eco-terrorists. One of them is a girl who has a very soft look to her. I mean, she feels honestly pretty bad when she sees these chimps being mistreated. But first of all, they're chimps and they are dangerous. And second of all, the technician makes it very clear that they are infected with something really, really bad, and that they really shouldn't come out.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll drop the other Zack Snyder thing here.
Yeah, all right.
Demonizing, or at least portraying people who are motivated by compassion as being completely naive fools is also a very Zack Snyder thing to do.
It is very Zack Snydery. I don't know. Danny Boyle, I mean, before this, he did things like Train Spotting. He has kind of a, I don't know how to describe it, kind of a punk rocky, gritty, realistic way of directing and of characterizing people. I mean, personally, I didn't pick up the vibe that these people were careless, just maybe a little naive is the worst of it. But I mean, you can also understand because they're straight up cut open chimps on tables. I accidentally freeze framed at one point and I saw a chimp head in a clear basket.
Jesus.
I know, it was a metal basket. But anyway, yeah. It's when the technician runs away and they run after him. It just like really briefly shows more of the lab and there's just like monkey parts all over the place. Oh, I'm sorry, ape. Ape parts.
Yeah, you messed up now.
Yeah, the chimp's a primate. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry. So, oh yeah, and they do ask him, well, what's he infected with? And he just says really melodramatically, rage. That's great,
Okay,
actually. I love that.
It's a great line, however, I feel like he's not really selling how dangerous this is.
Well, he tries. I mean, especially when they're right about to open it, he's just like, you have no idea! You can't! Like that whole thing.
I guess. I mean, just like, tell him it's an anger virus,
Yeah,
And that it can infect people, like through biting. They had to have known.
super fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they open the cage, and the chimp immediately just leaps out and buries its teeth in the neck of the nice girl who just helped him. I assume it's a him.
Sure.
She vomits blood. She says she's burning. Her friends knock the chimp off, and then when her friend goes to help her, she vomits blood right into his face. Or maybe she spits blood. I mean, I'm not sure why she does that, but it does seem just sort of like, it seems almost like an intentional move, like, blah! Like as he gets close.
Yeah. I got the impression it was, spitting it.
Well, her neck was bit, so I don't know. Maybe she just had a lot of blood in her throat, and she just had to get it out of there.
Maybe.
I mean, I
Can't say
consider... We'll go into the symptoms of the rage virus, but actually, we'll hear in a sec. But yeah, I tend to think that projectile blood vomit is part of their set, part of their traits or whatever.
Yeah, it does seem like they do that a lot.
It seems almost like it's triggered by the presence of people. It's like it was designed just to be real super infectious. So the technician grabs a chair, shouting that they have to kill her immediately. She leaps on him. The camera pans over to some chimps in cages as the technician just screams in agony. And that's the scene. Everyone's dead.
Yep.
Although I think there was 3 eco-terrorists, so I guess one of them could have gotten away. But I doubt it.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, almost immediately, the girl, I mean, after she spits the blood in her friend's face, she starts to make, the weird little noises and the twitches. She's exhibiting symptoms almost instantaneously.
Although imagine if that guy did get away, and then he just kind of have to know.
Yeah, that he did all of it.
And you could also tell nobody ever, because probably wouldn't go well for you.
I think if this was a lesser movie, they would have done that. Maybe that guy Mark, who's later in the movie, would be that guy or something.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, it seems like a hack writer thing to do.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, sometimes for realness, you just have to have people just be random people.
Yeah.
So it goes right to a black screen, and it just says 28 days later. Boom! Right off the bat, it says the title.
Yeah.
Congratulations, movie.
I clapped.
Yeah, it's the thing. It's the thing that it's called.
Yeah, I pointed at the screen and I clapped like a child.
Cillian Murphy wakes up naked in a hospital bed.
Hanging
and it's like
dog,
he's like
Dr. Manhattan style.
Yeah, no, he's got it's a more, I don't want to say egregious male nudity scene, I mean, because that's a weird way to put it, but it's let's just say it's more natural positioning than you usually see in cinema.
Yeah.
Not to go into specifics too much, but anyway, it's notable to me because every time I see it, I always forget that it's in the movie, and then I'm always shocked. I'm just like, oh my god,
oh,
yeah, oh my stars and garters. I mean, I'm not against it, but yeah, there is something, maybe just because I'm a child of the '80s, that I just assume that male nudity is somehow more, nude.
Yeah, I kind of get what you mean.
Sounds like you don't.
Well, no, I mean, like, it's like with the, like I just said, Dr. Manhattan. It's like, that was like, Jesus.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
I couldn't believe it
Back
when
to
I
Zack
saw
Snyder,
that,
of course.
that movie. Yeah, dude, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I'm gonna do that unintentionally another time.
Yeah.
At least once more. I just know it. I've cursed myself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hope so. So Cillian Murphy wakes up. He's naked. He's hairy. Half of his head is shaved, but then it grew back a bit. I actually thought that was a really nice touch because it shows that it was probably shaved down to the flesh and then it just grew back. So he must have been out of it for like a super long time. Well, 28 days, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man.
We should do that throughout the whole thing. Be like, I wonder how long it took. 28 days, I guess.
Lord.
Yeah, we have fun here. So he's just been laying there for however long, probably that long, maybe longer. And he's got IV bags in him. So I think maybe he was kept alive by an IV drip. Maybe it fed him enough. I mean, I don't know how often you're supposed to replace like saline bags. It could be that there's like a real sad story, like a prequel, where like a nurse lady was taking care of him for just weeks and weeks, and then she finally just died like that morning. Maybe she's like one of the bodies that, he steps over later.
That feels like the plot for if they did like a comic book prequel. That's just what that would be.
We just take something that no one even cared about or questioned, and you're like, this really needs to be answered. And so, here we go.
Yeah. You will know about this.
And then you'll never be able to unremember it. Yeah, he gets up. Everything is a mess. Everything is dead quiet. Hospital is totally abandoned. And also, I love this whole part of the movie because there's no speaking for quite a while. I mean, I think he says hello every now and then. He calls out to try to find somebody, but nobody responds.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember seeing the scene, but at some point he puts on clothing. I guess it must be early on because he's got nurse's scrubs on after that, like the green ones.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's what patients wear, because that's what someone else says in the movie later. I don't know. Anyway, he puts on some clothes and he goes down to the lobby and just tries every payphone. I just love that there's like a long line of public payphones and they're all just hanging off the hook. Not only did they not work, but someone had to disdainfully just take them all off the hook. Like, ah!
Yeah.
I think it's a nice touch. He chugs a Pepsi TM he finds in front of a broken vending machine.
It is kind of funny that they bring it up later how he's just been living off sugar.
Yeah, I actually am glad they brought that up because it would really suck when you've only got simple carbs, just empty calories. You're giving yourself nothing. But the thing is, that stuff preserves really well. So it probably would be something that would just be everywhere. You'd have to be eating horrible food all the time.
Yeah, it's like that in
Like in
canned
Zombieland, when Woody Harrelson is obsessed with Twinkies, I was like, yeah, those would probably still be there. Those things don't go bad. They're barely food. I assume they're made out of plastic. So yeah, he puts a few more sodas in a bag that he just finds. I do actually like that the vending machine is torn open from the bottom, like it's curled upwards. So someone already raided the vending machine at just some earlier date, which I thought was a nice touch. After a while, everyone's just like, I don't need to just find a quarter, or whatever. Well, I don't think it was a quarter, but what was it around the early 2000s? Like maybe $1.25 for a cola, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, this is the UK, so they got a whole other system anyway.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, also, I'd just be doing that day one. Like, the second that, the second shit really hits the fan, it's like, vending machines are open season.
I could just see you standing there in a crowd and you see zombies start to break out, and then you just turn and just throw a rock through a window. And you're like, oops! All right, I guess I better take this TV. I'll see you guys later.
The flimsiest possible justification, finally. Now it's time for me to commit crimes. He had been waiting so long for this.
My whole life has been leading up to this. It's super quiet outside as well. Major London thoroughfares are empty and littered with trash and paper. It's super lonely.
Yeah. This whole bit is probably it's like the most iconic moment in the whole movie.
It's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And as he walks the abandoned streets, this is when that Godspeed You Black Emperor song comes in. It's just a real, just dreary, plunky guitar tune that I just love. Because it starts real slow and mournful, kind of mourning the death of the city. I mean, that's not originally why it was written. But, in the context of this film, that's what it's doing. And then it just slowly picks up and just gets more and more anxious. And it fits quite well because the longer you would be in an abandoned city, the more maddening it would become. Where, every time you rounded a corner, you assumed you would find a person. There's got to be somebody somewhere, right?
Yeah, it feels like it builds with that realization of, oh, holy shit, there really is nobody here.
Yeah, everyone really is dead. And honestly, I'm just a sucker for a good soundtrack in a horror movie. Well, any movie, really.
Mm-hmm. Although I will say this, I mean, obviously, from our perspective, we know they're dead. It's interesting from his perspective, because, he doesn't know that. He has no clue where people are. And
they're just all gone.
Yeah, he doesn't even see any bodies until later on.
As a non-British person, the utter desolation around Cillian Murphy did not sink in for me fully until he crossed the Thames towards the Parliament, and there's Big Ben standing right there in the middle of the quiet. And I was like, I've seen that before. And it's honestly chilling. He wanders past a double-decker bus that's just laying on its side, which I thought was a nice touch.
Mm-hmm.
There's
some nice implied carnage there.
Yeah, I guess someone took a real sharp turn on that double-decker to get it to fall over,
Yeah.
There's some really exceptional distant shots of Murphy just wandering around under immense-looking buildings.
Yes, definitely.
Well, I don't know if they're actually immense, but they feel immense, maybe just because of the emptiness of the film.
Mm-hmm. I would like to point out that this movie does have some pretty excellent camera work.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I'd say that's one of the big selling points. There are these really strange combinations of very still shots, often distant shots, to establish everything. And then there'll be a sudden succession of really quick motion shots when something's approaching quickly. And it won't even have sound, so it's like really unsettling.
Yeah.
I've never really seen anyone else do it quite like that before. I think it's a really great style. I kind of wish it was used more often.
Yeah, I don't know, it's weird because like I even feel like 28 Weeks Later is a little bit weaker in that regard in some ways.
Oh yeah, I honestly don't like that movie. Yeah, I don't like the sequel too much.
Mhm.
Murphy picks up some paper money that's just sitting on some stairs. I mean, hey, it's just laying there.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't like free money? I also feel like these scenarios always treat money like it's completely worthless, but like there's probably some people who would still like give you something for it.
If nothing else, you could burn it. You could use it as kindling.
Sure.
He finds a newspaper that says evacuation in all caps. I actually stopped the shot so I could read all of what the newspaper says. I have it
What does
written
it say?
down. I'm going to read it to you right now.
All right.
It says mass exodus of British people causes global chaos. And then there's just a series of lines with ellipses after each one. So it says Blair declares state of emergency. I guess that would be Tony Blair, who was in charge at the time.
Mhm.
Military ordered shoot to kill. Government checkpoints overrun. UN to build giant refugee camps. Chaos at all London airports. And government call for calm.
Excellent.
Yeah, but there are all these disconnected lines. I guess it's the idea is that because it's like a movie newspaper, they just assume that maybe you'll see one or two of those before it's too late. And you're just like, oh, that's saying some serious stuff.
Yeah.
They don't expect me to
like,
scrutinize it.
Well, I mean, it's a quick shot.
Yeah. Out at Piccadilly Circus, a big wall has been erected around the Shaftesbury Memorial Fountain. I only know it's called that because I looked it up. And
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure where you were going with that until you mentioned it.
Well, in Piccadilly Circus, or I mean, sometimes in America we call it Piccadilly Square, or maybe the square is in the circus. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, it's famous, and the fountain in the middle is a very famous fountain just because it's there. And so
Sure.
the directors, he's using this as a shorthand to show that some serious stuff happened, that all these major British things have been co-opted to show a horrible apocalypse.
Mhm.
So the wall is just covered in notes and papers.
Yeah, I wanted to go back and look at some of that, but I didn't get around to it today. I was a little too busy.
I feel a little bad. I mean, well, not bad. I feel mad at myself because I did stop. I wrote some of it down. And there's a lot. So I did some of the easier ones. So yeah, there's a few notes. One of them, there's a picture of a man with like a red circle around his face, and then it points to a note, and the note says, "Have you seen this man? He is 5 feet 7 inches tall, aged 26, called Philip McDough. He lives in Bruton, or I don't know how you say it. Probably Bruton, but has not been seen for a few days now. We are desperate to hear from him. If you see him," and then, kind of gets cut off. I like the other one I found where it's more just directions. Another one reads, "Please go to Simon. Faith is going to meet us there. You do the same. Simon says he's got a plan. Donna, XXX, take care." And there was one about a missing boy. I didn't write it down, but there was a boy that was missing.
Yeah,
That's the one that they zoom
I
in
caught
on.
that one.
Yeah. Did you write any of it down, or you just notice it?
No. I meant to do more stuff like that. I had a busy day.
It's fine. I mean, it just establishes that some bad stuff happened. It has no real bearing on the story. I just thought it was neat.
Yeah, I like it when a movie has details like that.
Yeah.
Shows they care.
So Murphy wanders into a church. and the wooden cross just looms over him in the shot as he opens the front door.
Oh, hey, you know what? The cross looming over Cillian Murphy. It's very Zack Snyder thing to do.
Yeah. It was either that or Superman extending his arms out like Jesus.
Oh man, Zack Snyder's such a hack, and I really love it.
Maybe that should be the tagline for this podcast. It's just Zack Snyder is such a hack.
It's like that stuff is such a dumb guy way of being like, see how deep this is? Themes.
Well, again, I don't want to poo-poo this movie. But yeah, generally, it's not great.
Wait. Okay, I'm sorry. I have to deviate really quick. Okay, did you see the picture they released of the Joker in the Snyder Cut?
No.
The promotional one? Okay. It's great because this is going to sound like a joke. You can look this up. I'm going to bring it up right now.
All right.
Okay. He has a crown of thorns and his hands held
right
up.
off the bat.
Yes. He's doing a Jesus pose. Superman's Jesus, now Joker's Jesus. We're like it's all Jesus. I laughed so hard when I saw that picture. It was like, it's embarrassing.
It's in Bloody Disgusting for some reason, even though that's more of a horror site. It said, Justice League's Jared Leto's Joker wearing a crown of thorns in new shot from Snyder Cut. Oh, God. Yeah, he's got his hands out. Oh, that's horrible. Well, that is Bloody Disgusting, so, yeah.
That's true. It's kind of brilliant. Not because it's smart, but just the audacity of that man.
Yeah. Okay, so back to the movie.
I'm sorry.
Until the next tangent on Zack Snyder.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah. Murphy wanders into a church. The cross just looms over him menacingly as he walks in. As he gets to the stairs, he sees some gigantic graffiti on the wall that just says the end is extremely, effing high. I'm trying not to curse on here unnecessarily. But anyway, yeah. Out in the pews, there are just hundreds of corpses sitting or laying. It actually seems appropriate to me. I had heard somewhere that there's places where people will congregate when they're going to die, and it's often bathrooms and churches.
Huh.
Well, yeah, churches if it's a public, well-known event. Bathrooms if it's unexpected personal injury. You've cut yourself open, you're trying to help cover it up, and you just die in your bathroom.
Oh, sure. I feel like I just go to the corner store. That's their problem now.
Or you could be like that kid from Children of the Corn, where you're already fatally stabbed, so then you just go walk in the road so someone can run you over.
Yeah, just try to be considerate.
Shout out to my Children of the Corn fans. What?
Jesus.
All right.
Yes. Speaking of embarrassing.
So, Murphy.
I am not. To be clear, I am not a cornhead, which is what all children of the corn. Yeah, children of the corn fans all call themselves that.
No.
It's true. Look it up.
No, you call them we who walk behind the rows.
Let's just keep going.
All right. So yeah, Murphy's out standing in front of some pews. He just calls out hello, just sort of casually, and a bunch of people stand up and just look at him with crazy slack-jawed faces. Ugh. which is honestly like super surprising and frightening because they don't say anything and they don't make any noise. They just get up like instantly, just like "Blah," and they, like all at the same time.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really react to that. I think he's up higher than them at first, so he just sort of leaves, and he hears someone stumbling through some doors, and just from out of the depths of the church comes this disheveled priest. His motions are jerky and erratic, and he makes harsh little clearing the throat kinds of noises, which I guess will come to be known as the rage zombie noises.
Mm-hmm.
Murphy backs up as the preacher approaches, but when he doesn't respond, Murphy just smacks him with a bag full of pop cans.
You know what? If someone ran at me, I feel like that'd probably be my instinct too. You don't have to know if someone's a zombie or not to hit them if they're coming at you.
Yeah, and he does apologize, so at least he's polite about it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So the priest...
So I will...
What? Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, I feel really conflicted about the behavior of the zombies in this movie because...
How so,
there's
Jacob?
a lot of, like, twitchy stuff.
Yeah.
But they don't really behave like... I feel like, given that it's a rage virus, they should behave like just really pissed off people. Driven and like insane and like maybe even like inarticulately, enraged. But they're all very twitchy.
Yeah.
Which I don't get that.
Well, I mean, this is probably a good time to just describe what I think the rage virus is, or at least what its symptoms are.
Okay.
So, I listed a few things that I noticed that they have. They have conjunctivitis, because you see they have really bloody eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Which just makes them look cool. I don't know if it really helps them. I mean, it seems like it would hurt them because it would make it harder to see.
Yeah.
And they're very bitey and aggressive, which is kind of like rabies. Except that rabies takes months or weeks or months. It takes a very long time to incubate in a human body.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this happens to rage victims in something like 10 seconds. Or under half a minute.
Yeah.
So yeah. So so there's conjunctivitis, rabies, and I think encephalitis. That's the like an infection of the brain. I mean, there's things like meningitis. That's the cerebral spinal fluid. I have trouble saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And that just puts pressure on the brain. And when you have that, it just makes you deficient because it's squishing your brain, wherever it is. And usually people just have a horrible headache and they die. Encephalitis, though, that actually is an infection of the brain. And there's not as many cases of that or things that do that. But when they do, it at least makes it possible that they could be eating away at parts of your brain that would make you change your behavior in a lot of different ways. Like the prions, they're not a virus. I think they're just like a malformed protein or something. But the mad cow disease, it makes your brain Swiss cheese over decades by just telling your brain to remake itself in the wrong way.
Yeah, I made the mistake.
It's like cancer, but
I made the mistake.
It's like the opposite of cancer.
Mm-hmm.
What was that?
Yeah, I made the mistake of reading up on prions a while back, and it's like you never want to know about like another completely like invisible thing that's like a process that's normal in your body, but if it ever messes up it's probably gonna kill you.
Yeah, it'll slowly ruin you and you won't even know it's happening.
Yeah.
So I've got it to 3 now. So conjunctivitis, rabies, encephalitis. I mean, it's probably all 3, or at least symptoms of things like that. But they also have projectile blood vomit, as we mentioned earlier. I happen to believe that that's bleeding ulcers, or maybe something in the digestive tract, so that there's just blood in their system that they can just regurgitate if they need to. So all of those things. But whatever it is, it's not affecting their coordination. So it might just be targeting specific parts of their brain, maybe that have to do with higher functions, but not with balance and things like that. Because it seems like they would just stumble around and not be able to walk if those parts of the brain were ruined. I mean, they're pretty nimble. Like they're mindless, but like they can really just run you down and tear you to bits pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but I don't think I could outrun a rage zombie.
I found an insider article from some, I don't know who they were, some virologist ladies, and they were rating all of the zombie viruses on a 1 to 10 scale. They listed 10 movies, and actually the 28 days later, Rage Zombies got a 6 out of 10, which ended up being their highest score. So they thought that it was the most plausible of all of them, and it's still pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, a zombie virus in general is pretty ridiculous.
You shut your mouth!
Well, okay, I will say this. It is nice that, I mean, as far as I can tell, the Rage Zombies are still alive?
I think so, yeah. I think they are, yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, they, spoilers, they can starve.
Yeah.
So, like, that automatically makes it so much more plausible than, like, oh yeah, they just, like, die and then come back.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of the complaints from the virologist ladies were. It was more or less that, like, well, okay, even if you were able to keep the medulla oblongata working, that's just breathing and heart function. But it doesn't work for things like eyesight or walking. And as soon as you die, all the bacteria that just naturally lives in your body starts to eat you because you're a food source. So, I mean, you would have to regenerate, like, not just reawaken,
Sure.
But I don't know. I feel like that's a little overthinking it, but...
Yeah, well, of course. But that would be a good one. Because, like, zombies it's always kind of presumed that they're fairly easy to kill, but
yeah,
it'd be so much worse if they would regenerate. Like Wolverine zombies.
In a way that would make, well, I was going to say more sense. No, that would make less sense, but in a different way.
Yeah. I mean, I think that might be interesting, though. Just like, what if you had to deal with the zombie problem, but also zombies were super tough to kill?
Yeah. So Murphy smacks the priest with pop cans in the bag, and after the priest falls over, he just keeps crawling after him as if nothing had happened. As if it means nothing to him that he was knocked over.
Yeah.
So Murphy runs out of the building. About a half dozen people scurry out after him. The East Hastings song picks up again, like to some of the more tense parts at the end of the song. And two masked people just sort of pop out. I don't know if they're really introduced visually. They're just suddenly there.
Yeah.
It's a little
pretty
odd.
abrupt.
So Murphy's running along, and then there are these two masked people who are just hurling Molotov cocktails willy-nilly, just all over the place. They manage to utterly inflame a few of the pursuers. And then I'm not sure what it is they do. I think they jury-rig a gas tank or something, because they effectively set off a bomb at a gas station. Oh, I'm sorry, this is Britain. A petrol station.
Don't encourage them.
You and your strange words.
No, they're
anyway.
Silly words. I'm not gonna play their game.
Yeah, they blow up the gas station. They blow up the gas station and totally immolate the rest. It's a really well shot explosion from multiple angles and distances, including like super far away. I just wanted to point out, I mean, I'm not really an action movie guy, or at least not in this podcast, but it's a really great action shot of an explosion. It really just lays it out like, here's every angle of how it blew up.
Yeah. The explosion effects are very good.
So Murphy and the two masked people hide in a convenience store of some kind behind a riot shield, or whatever you call those metal pull-down things that are in front of storefronts.
I think that's just what they call them.
The man in the gas mask tells a bad joke. Something about a giraffe in a bar that falls over. The man owns a giraffe, and then he's about to leave, and then he says, "You can't leave that lying there." And the man says, "It's not a lion, it's a giraffe."
Yeah, I kind of like that bit.
Ugh.
I mean, it's a bad joke, but I feel like that would be a good way to kind of like get someone to like snap out of it, you know?
Yeah, in a way,
See, like,
you'd want bad dad jokes to just sort of ground people and be like, "Yeah, everything's back to normal again."
Yeah, or at least just like, okay, focus on the conversation, what we're saying.
Or maybe just to verify
I mean,
that he's not a rage zombie.
Well, yeah, he seems like pretty, like, understandably pretty out of it.
Naomi Harris is the other masked vigilante. She asks him who he is. He says he's a bike courier named Jim. He was in a bad accident, sideswiped by a truck, and only just woke up. The other two introduce themselves as Mark and Selena, respectively. Mark has like one of the greatest understatement lines in maybe cinematic history when he says, "Well, I'm afraid I've got some bad news."
I mean, how do you even break that to someone?
Yeah, there's no way. And there's no way. Like, what are you going to say? He's just like, "Well, I mean, I don't know how to begin this, but everyone's dead." Selena describes the onset of the rage virus taking over everything. There's infections that were reported in Paris and New York just before TV and radio stopped working. Jim asks if there's a government or what the government's doing, and they're just like, "There's no government." He's like, "How can there not be a government? There's always a government." They're in a bunker or a plane. I feel like that would be me. That would be me rationalizing things. I'm just like, there's got to be somebody. They had to have had a secret plan.
I mean, yeah, I feel, like, despite, some mishandling of pandemics in recent events,
yeah,
maybe there like, there would be a plan like that. Like, you'd hope.
Well, I would hope that Prime Minister Tony Blair would have gotten on an airplane or a helicopter or something and just be like a deposed king. Even if his country's gone, he could just go be sad in another country.
Yeah.
I don't know why that would be comforting. It would make no difference. But I guess in a way it sort of would. I don't know. Maybe just because he's a representative of the people or something like that.
I mean, there are presumably still people from that country alive. So I feel like that would matter.
There's a small handful, I guess, because here they are.
Yeah.
So there's no electricity, and Jim is the first uninfected person that either Selena or Mark have seen in 6 days. I kind of want to know who the last person was. They're going somewhere, and then someone is just like, "Hey, help me!" You just get killed by a zombie.
I mean,
crap.
Yeah.
Damn it.
There's not much to suggest this, but I did get the impression that they were a part of a larger group.
They have a team feel to them, even though there's just two of them. It seems like they had a skill set that they were all good at, and most of them just died.
I think that's it.
They look almost like a cat burglar group, where like each one has the special skill.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Mark does smash and grab and explosions, Molotov cocktails, and Selena is like a pharmacist. Well, she said later in the film, she says she qualified as a chemist. I don't know what that means. I guess she's allowed to just play with stuff.
Okay, Peter, I'm really sorry. So, that is actually, it's kind of an interesting thought. The idea of, what if they were cat burglars? Because, like, doing like a heist in a zombie apocalypse seems really interesting. Somebody should maybe make a movie about that. Oh, wait, Zack Snyder's making a movie about that.
Oh my god, why?
Yes.
Why would you steal when everything's over already?
Oh yeah, no, that plot makes no sense to me, but whatever.
Well, I guess by the time
still-
they get to the Land of the Dead movies, there's kind of a need for money and stuff. Although it didn't really make a lot of sense to me. I just felt like money's only as good as people are willing to honor it.
I mean, whatever. It's a garbage concept. I will, however, still be watching that movie.
All right, then. So Jim does the first thing that we would all do. He wants to go see his family. And they're just like, no, they're going to be dead, and then we're all going to die. And he's just sort of like, no, I insist. We're going to go. And I don't know, I guess you sort of have to, especially if you know that he hasn't been through any of this. He's fresh. So in a way, they know that he has to go through this process of acknowledging what happened and then grieving for it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Jim just says, all right, fine, I'll just go by myself. And Selena's like, no, nobody ever comes back. And so they go together. So isn't that nice? Oh, yeah. Mark lays down 2 lessons, though. Never go anywhere alone unless you have no choice. Only travel during the day unless you have no choice. Huh?
A rule that Mark does later on break.
Yeah. They break both of those rules.
Maybe. But I know, yeah, anyway, we'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah. It's coming up. So they wait out the night at the place they currently are. And in the morning, they go see Jim's dead parents. There's no nice way to put it. Well, actually, no, maybe there are. But I chose not to. As they approach his house, softly, devastatingly, they start to play Henry Francis Light's Christian hymn, Abide With Me. Just softly playing a nice little death hymn in the background while Jim wanders around his house trying to find his parents. I actually wrote down part of the lyrics because it sounded sad. Abide with me, fast falls the eventide. The darkness deepens, Lord with me abide. When other helpers fail and comforts flee, help of the helpless, oh abide with me.
Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer, man.
Jim makes it up to his parents' bedroom. He finds them laying together in bed, long dead and smelling very bad. It looks like they took a bunch of pills.
Yeah. Which, I mean, maybe not the worst way to go in an apocalypse like this.
Yeah. Although, as if to make matters worse, crumpled in their hands is a picture of him as a child. And on the back is a note. And I wrote it down. Jim, with endless love, we left you sleeping. Now we're sleeping with you. Don't wake up.
God.
Whew.
It's like, okay, here's the thing. I get having that thought. Why write that down except for the purpose of emotionally devastating him should he wake up?
Yeah. Just to be sure that you know it was... I was going to say it's his fault, but not really.
Yeah. No, but it's just like, who is that for? I mean, I understand on the emotional... Oh, no, yeah. I understand on the emotional level. It's just like, Jesus.
Yeah.
You better hope he doesn't see that.
Yeah, I mean, I forget which one says it, Mark or Selena. It just says, well, I mean, yeah, at least they died peacefully. It's better than my parents. Mark tells the dreadful story of being trapped in a crowded airport when the rage virus began to sweep through like wildfire. And he only got away by climbing away from his parents over and on top of people onto a kiosk. And then he saw his father's infected face in the crowd. Good times. You know, the movie really just like lays it on heavy early on. I guess it needs to, just to be like, this is serious. The world's ended.
Mm.
I guess in light of it taking so long for him to mourn his parents, they just decide to stay in Jim's house for the night. I have to say, it's just a horrible, horrible mistake. There's no defenses at all. The windows are just open. I mean, they don't even close the blinds, I don't think.
No.
Well, at least they chose to sleep in the same room. However, Jim wakes up like an idiot and wanders off by himself. He lights a candle and goes and looks at household knickknacks, just remembering good times. He remembers himself into a scene with his parents as they're unloading groceries.
Oh, that's right.
His dad says something about drinking orange juice, and then out loud, Jim says, "Oh, it's empty." There was something weird about that. It does sort of trigger that odd familiarity where you remember a random thing you said to like a family member. But anyway, the light seems to attract attention, and then two infected people burst through the windows and tackle Jim. It's almost like their SWAT team. One of them crashes through the skylight, and then the other comes in just through, I think it's the kitchen window.
What was he doing up there?
I don't know, just wandering around on the roof, I guess. Although later Jim says that the man is a neighbor from 4 doors down, so I guess he died on the roof. Maybe he was trying to protect himself or something and just didn't work out.
I guess we'll never know.
So Jim sort of feebly tries to keep them off of him, and then Mark and Selena run in and just bash and cut them down. And Jim just really lets the blood rub around in his face. I mean, I know he's new to all this, but he's just kind of like, just like rubbing his hands on his face and stuff. It's like you're trying to get infected. I mean, this stuff is super duper contagious, man.
Yeah, don't risk it, man.
Selena demands to know if he was bitten. Understandable. Jim says no. Good. That's the right answer.
Yeah.
Mark, however, while he's cleaning himself off, he reveals a big ugly cut on his arm, and he's trying to wipe it clean. And when he looks up, he has that sort of apologetic look on his face, like, no, wait. And Selena just straight up murders him with a machete. Just cutting right through his arm and just cutting him down.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal.
Yeah, I forgot to write down the name of the actor who plays Mark, but he just emits just a wonderfully horrible scream of agony when he dies.
Oh, God, yeah. Noah Huntley. What's he?
Good job, Mr. Huntley.
He has been in such classics as Juxtaposed, Dracula Untold.
Ooh.
Jesus. God, these all... Oh, hey, wait. He was in Event Horizon.
Ooh. Wait, really?
As Burning Man / Edward Corrick.
Oh, that guy. You let me burn! Yeah.
That's
I got that movie memorized. I was so confused by that. I should have known that guy, but no, that guy's totally covered in burns. You can barely see his face in the movie.
Well, now you know. It's that guy.
And now he's dead. Now it's just Selena
and the movie's Jim. A little worse for it.
You think so?
A little bit.
Yeah. Selena explains that there is a 10 to 20 second window to kill a newly infected person before the rage virus overtakes them. Selena warns that if the same happens to Jim, she'll murder him in a heartbeat. I like that she's weirdly bitter about optimism, because as they're walking away, she's just like, Mark had all these plans. They're just a waste of time. Well, what's wrong with having a plan? Having a future.
It kind of takes me a while to because early on in the movie, she is it's it's okay to have a little bit of hope.
Well, I don't think she doesn't have hope. I think what it is that she's turned off the parts of her brain that'll make her grieve too much. She just sort of is just living day to day as much as she can. Like the way an alcoholic might.
Okay. Odd comparison, but all right.
Well, I was just thinking, just embracing the day. But I mean, also, just circumstances will probably change so much for her, and we don't know what she went through. It was probably a lot of real terrible stuff. So, I mean, I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt, and I'm not going to hold it against her for being hard and cold after a lot of terrible stuff happened. She just had to kill her friend, just real quick.
Yeah, no, I will.
All right. So as they're walking away, I don't know where they're walking to. I guess they're just walking. Jim draws her attention to an apartment with blinking, working Christmas lights. And I was thinking how weird that is in a city that would be totally dark and totally abandoned. And then there's just one little apartment that's just blinking Christmas lights.
Well, also, See, the thing is, you don't want to be a pessimist, but it's like, sure, that could be a good thing, but that could also be a bad thing.
It could be a trap.
Yeah. Because I mean, I feel like they're basically two kinds of people who are trying to attract other people during an apocalypse. It's like people who will need other people and want to be helpful, and cannibal maniacs.
Yeah.
Who
Slavers,
at
maybe.
best want to. Yeah, people who like at best want to take your stuff, at worst have gone completely nuts.
Well, they don't seem to have anything else to do, so they just go to this apartment complex.
Yeah.
And the ground floor is just barricaded with hundreds of shopping carts, or as Jim calls them, shopping trolleys.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, they do.
Well, it's just what they call it there. You know, I'm not going to hold it against them. I think it's cute.
Okay. Yeah. That's the thing. It's all cute. It's all real cute.
It's cute to our ears. It's not cute to them. I mean, I don't even know which came first. I mean, maybe it's more original.
I guess. It's a bunch of Hobbit BS.
Okay, so anyway, they climb over the shopping trolleys to get inside. And about halfway up the long stair, you remember how you're talking earlier about the sugar deficiency or whatever, the sugar overload, I guess.
Yeah.
This is where that happens, where Jim just gets a crushing headache, but he doesn't want to admit that he's getting kind of debilitated because, he doesn't think that she cares. And she's like, well, why didn't you tell me sooner? It's like, I didn't think you cared. And so she pulls out her magic bag of pills and she says, well, you have no fat on you and you've been eating nothing but sugar. The only thing we can do about that is give you painkillers and more sugar.
Yeah.
At this point, I wrote, is she a former nurse? I don't know if she was or not. She could have been, although it can't be clear to me.
I mean, that makes a certain amount of sense.
So she offers him Pepsi or Lilt, and he asks for Tango. Do you know what any of those things are? Well, Pepsi, I guess.
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, I just assumed they were soft drink brands. I've never heard of those before until...
Yeah, me either. So I actually looked them up. Let's see. Lilt, I don't know. Even just saying that sounds weird to me. So it's spelled Lilt, lilt, as in like the lilt in a song or a lilting song.
Yeah.
It is a carbonated beverage from Northern Ireland containing pineapple juice and grapefruit juice. It was introduced in 1975 and is only sold in the UK, Ireland, and the Seychelles. I'm not sure if that would be good. It sounds like that could be okay.
Yeah.
The other one is Tango, which seems more like Fanta. It's I don't know. Well, I know there's at least two flavors, orange and apple. I think there might be more, but the big ones are orange and apple. Apparently, the product is known for really surreal advertisements, most notably a commercial in which a man drinking orange Tango is slapped in the face by a man in an orange suit. The commercial led to numerous cases of UK school children tangoing children who had drunk Tango by slapping them in the face.
Yes. That's so good. Oh, man.
However,
to be clear, it's not the violence against children. It's just that becoming a thing of slapping people because of a commercial. That's very funny.
Yeah. Hey, I saw this on a commercial. Slap.
Oh god, you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of that whole Noid thing. Was it Richard Noid? Yeah.
Don't be annoyed by the Noid.
Yeah. I
don't remember exactly how that goes. But yeah, was that the thing about it squishing the pizza because you don't have the little chair in the middle? Is that what the Noid was about?
I don't think it was quite that sensical, to be honest.
Well. So maybe he just encapsulated annoyance in general.
Yeah, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're about halfway up. Jim drinks his soda. He doesn't get slapped in the face. But they do hear zombies coming up from below, and they start climbing over the shopping trolleys.
Mm-hmm.
They both have to run up the stairs, and I actually kind of give Selena credit for just not caring. She just runs up And Jim is still too debilitated to really keep up with her, and so he's just howling after her. He said, "Please don't leave me, Selena!" I mean, he's only a little behind, but he's really flipping out.
Yeah.
And they manage to rush to the very top of the stair and run into an imposing man in a full ski mask and black riot gear holding out a riot shield.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Smartest man in the movie.
Yeah. He directs them to his apartment. I don't remember what the number is. But anyway, yeah, he directs them to his apartment, and then he just stays to fight the oncoming infected. He's just bashing him with his shield. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They dash over to the door of his apartment. Luckily, it's got one of those metal things on the outside of the door, I guess, to keep ruffians out. It'll at least afford some protection if they got through all of his defenses.
Mm-hmm.
Through that grate, his daughter, I guess she is, opens the door and it's just like, "Well, where's Dad?" And they're like, "Let us in!" It's like, not without Dad. I guess they want to play up the tension for the scene. I suppose there is a possibility that he could be overcome by the zombies and that'd be the end of things. But I mean, it's not really a very high stakes moment. He just kind of knocks down the zombie and it falls through the middle of the stairwell. It just plummets and it looks great.
Yeah, I love that shot.
Yeah, I love a good dummy shot. And it is a good dummy. It's not a bad dummy. Just careening around, knocking into stuff as it goes down. So he gives his permission after he's done beating up the zombies. He's like, "All right, you can let him in. It's fine." It's weird because he keeps his mask on for just slightly too long. And they do this on purpose just to play with your expectations. You're like, well, who is this guy? Is he like some weird sadomasochistic crazy guy? And he takes off his mask and it's just gentle old genteel Mad Eye Moody, Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah.
Right then, I'm Frank.
He's such a gracious host.
He's super nice. Immediately he plays as a very nice dad. So yeah, he introduces himself as Frank and his daughter is Hannah. And he's just so jazzed to see living people.
I have to admit, when I first saw this movie, my first impression was like, there's no way he's like actually nice, right? He's got to have something going on.
Yeah, there's got to be a trick.
No, he's just a nice guy. It's great.
Well, I think in a way he kept things nice for him and his daughter in a very controlled way. He was able to keep out the world as it was ending. So he's probably as close to Jim without being Jim as you could be. I think he might be, I mean, he's still affected by the apocalypse, but maybe not as much because he has what he needs.
Mm-hmm.
So as celebration, Frank whips out the creme de menthe, which looks horrible. I'm not sure if
I looked that up and it did not seem like something I'd be drinking.
I think it's one of those things you're supposed to add to something else.
Yeah. Sweet and mint flavor.
But they, but they politely drink it. They finally show where the electricity comes from. Frank's just been keeping the lights on with a car battery. Every day of the Rage Apocalypse is Christmas time at Frank's place. I noticed that Frosty the Snowman is playing on infinite loop whenever they have that car battery plugged in.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it can alternate to other songs. I was just thinking how annoying that would be to have it always playing.
I assume that it's only playing that one song.
Just forever and ever.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to disable it, but it was connected to the lights, so I had to keep it on. So that night, Jim rips up his face trying to shave without water. Frank advises him to use a bucket as a chamber pot.
Yeah.
Should the need arise. It's nice, I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things you don't really need to discuss it, but I guess it's trying to point out how lame his existence is right now, that he has to just pour his stuff over the side and just wait for rain.
Yeah.
Which is the next thing. They lead him up to the roof and there's just buckets everywhere. Buckets and containers, just hundreds of like brightly colored pieces of plastic.
Mm-hmm. I thought that shot was great when they established all that.
Yeah.
The overhead.
Frank says that he tried to collect condensation with a big tarp but couldn't make it work. I once had to watch a semi-educational series in school called The Voyage of the Mimi, In it, they dig a pit, fill it with seawater, and place a bucket in the middle.
Mhm.
And then they drape a plastic tarp with a rock in the center so that the condensation will drip down into the bucket in the middle.
Mhm.
I've heard of people trying to make it work when they're stranded on islands. I don't know that it's ever worked. I mean, it must have worked for somebody, but it just seems like even if it does work, you've done all this effort, and what you get is maybe half a cup of warm, gross water. I suppose it's better than seawater. I mean, you're actually able to drink it, but you wouldn't be able to live off of that. It might just maybe it'll help keep you just barely alive.
I think that's kind of what they're going for.
Yeah.
I voluntarily watched one of those old military educate the troops videos for what to do if you survive getting downed in the desert and you have to stick it out for a few days. And they would, I thought it was interesting because what they would do is they just collect dew off of the wings of the plane.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's like those moisture evaporators in Star Wars.
Exactly.
Frank admits to Jim that they just can't stay in place much longer without fresh provisions. But as sort of an offering, I guess you could say, he gives some information to them by winding up a hand-powered radio and tapping into a signal he found that's been playing on repeat. And lo and behold, it's Christopher Eccleston's voice. And he promises an answer to infection, claims to be soldiers, and gives coordinates for any survivors to follow. Hooray, I guess.
Yeah.
But, honestly, it seems even more like a trap than following Christmas lights.
Yeah.
Go to this place. You won't know where we are, but we will know where you are.
Yeah, I feel like... Yeah, it's just like the nature of a recording makes it untrustworthy, because you can't talk to him. You just have to kind of go there.
Well, then again, I don't suppose they assume that people are going to have a ham radio and be able to send signals back and forth or whatever.
True, yeah.
But regardless, Frank has it plotted on a map. He says it'll take 2 or 3 days' journey to get there. Frank admits he can't risk the trip by himself. He might get hurt, and then it would only just be his underage daughter, Hannah, by herself, and says he'll need their help. It seems like Selena's going to say no, and then Hannah just says, no, but we all need each other. She kind of just says something sweet, but it doesn't really change the situation. But they just sort of go with it. They're just all right, fine.
Yeah, I will say, I made it a note that I really appreciate that the young daughter character is level-headed. Enough to be hey, here's a reason for us to stick together. Let's use our heads about it.
Yeah.
Not just a shrieking, crying mess who drags the whole movie down.
Yeah, which a lot of other horror films.
Yes.
So they have a road trip.
And what a road trip is.
Frank has a pretty robust-looking taxi, and it's loaded up with goods. With it, the 4 of them drive off towards the coordinates somewhere in Manchester. I don't know if they were super clear about where, just somewhere on the outskirts.
Mm-hmm.
A very bubbly rendition of Ave Maria starts playing as they drive through the rubble of civilization.
Yeah.
Ave Maria. I love that, they don't make the best decision, but it works out. I mean, that's a minor spoiler, but I mean, they get to an underground tunnel. It is the worst decision you could possibly make. And Frank is just it's the fastest way. We should just go. And Jim's just no, we should take the less fast way and go somewhere where we won't get trapped and killed.
I felt for Jim so much during this scene, because I know that would be me just pointing out, holy shit, this is a really dumb idea. And just that despair.
This is the worst idea.
That despair of watching someone make what you know is a very dumb decision.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no lights in there. I'm sure no harm will come to us.
It's like, what about your situation would ever make you think that?
Just take a jaunty trip right down the middle of a horrible plague tunnel.
I mean, I'll be honest, it makes him feel like a kind of naive guy. Just thinking that's
Maybe.
like, yeah. I also kind of wonder how much like he's been exposed to the apocalypse too.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, as I was saying before, I think he kind of shut himself away, but I'm sure he had some access. He probably listened to news reports until they stopped.
Mhm.
So Frank just drives into the darkness. Obstructions start to get in their way, and Frank just plows over them, like up and over like ramps of garbage, like he's in a monster truck or something. And miraculously, it works. I can't believe it works. I mean, it's not like cars are designed to just drive over other cars or piles of garbage and that kind of stuff. But, regardless, they all laugh and have a good time in the car. However, right at the end of it, it's only after they get over all of the garbage piles and the cars that the right front wheel goes flat.
Yeah,
And they're still in the tunnel. So now they're stuck in the tunnel.
good job.
The group gets out and stands guard as Hannah slides under the taxi to get the car jack in. Which, again, that's nice that they gave her something to do and she wasn't weird about it. She's like, yeah, this is what I do.
Mhm.
I'm glad that, the director, Boyle, and I guess the writer, they made pains to make none of the characters annoying.
Yeah,
There's a weird sound. They hear something approaching, and you think at first it's infected, but no, it's not. It's a giant wave of rats.
which
Which is pretty amazing.
yeah, also a terrifying concept because like, what if can animals? Wait, I don't remember the sequel. Can animals get the rage virus? I mean, obviously there's the chimpanzees at the beginning. You don't really
Well,
see
the chimps do.
Well, I'm just saying,
I'm not sure about.
could rodents? I don't know. That'd be a horrifying
Maybe.
concept.
I know, well, later on they see some horses and they think they're not infected. Although it would have been funny if they were and they just didn't see them.
Yeah.
Because getting ridden down by rage horses would have been pretty amazing. No, please!
Oh man, I don't know why, but that thought is really funny to me. Just like
Yeah,
zombie
I mean, the only thing
horses.
that makes me feel like they're not rage rats is just the fact that they are fleeing infected. So, I mean, they're.
Oh no, yeah, I don't think they're infected. I was just saying, like, the idea that they could be would make that so much worse.
It would. It would ruin the world even more. It would be even more ruined. The group lifts up the car so Hannah can replace the pop tire. Oh, but before that, yeah, the rats flood in, and she's still under the car, and then they just like climb all over her, and she freaks out, which is pretty great.
Yeah.
Ah! But then they pull her out. They get the car up just by pushing on it, and then she replaces the tire just in the nick of time. They close the doors just as the infected are coming up on them.
Yeah.
And then, like an idiot, Jim leans out one of the back windows and flips them off as they're driving away. And I was just thinking, like, if Frank had driven too close to a wall or something, that would have been the end of Jim.
Yeah.
Ugh!
You really can't get cocky during a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. So to celebrate, once they're finally out, they go raid a grocery store called Budgeon's.
I love the scene.
Yeah, and another great song kicks in. It's a fun little montage of them just picking over stuff. You can tell that they're trying very hard to not get sugary stuff just because that's all they've been eating.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get fruit and whatever. There's a great part where Frank goes over to the vegetables and all of the apples are rotten except for the ones that were irradiated. Irradiated. Frank loads up on some pricey booze that are in black boxes.
That
Keeps out the fire, keeps in the warmth.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
Why
why not just pick the good stuff?
So they all grab their stuff. They have 3 full carts to get back in the car. Frank just drops off his debit card because, he'll never use it again.
Yeah.
They drive away. There's just a shot of like a huge field of flowers, and it's all blurred in a way that makes it look like an impressionist painting. I was trying to figure out why they did it like that, the director. I think it's because it's supposed to mark that was just a really beautiful moment and they're going to remember it that way, like a painting.
Yeah, that seems like something you'd do if you were good at making movies.
Yeah, that's what I'd do if I was competent or something.
Listen, I've been watching so much trash lately that I have to appreciate little things like that.
Oh, no, yeah, no. I mean, this is such a classy zombie movie. I mean, well, for one thing, the director doesn't even call it that. He actually gets a little annoyed when people call it a zombie movie. He's like, no, it's not that. It's about infected people. And in some ways, I mean, there's an argument to be made. I mean, it does remind me of a few movies where people just lose their minds because of something. Like The Crazies.
Yeah.
From either version. There's a 60s version and I think there's like a 90s version.
Yeah, I've seen the 90s version. I have not seen the old one. But I do like the
There's a 1984 movie called Impulse with Meg Tilly where people get infected by bad milk that has like a chemical in it and it makes them lose all their inhibitions. And so they start just like fighting and having sex out in the streets. It's pretty amazing, actually.
Huh. Sounds interesting.
So in a way, it's kind of... It does feel almost like that sort of a movie. I guess more of an outbreak film, or maybe as much of an outbreak film as it is a zombie movie.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to stop at a gas station. I guess they're low on gas. Luckily, there's a gas tank right nearby that Frank can easily siphon gas from using a rubber tube.
Mm-hmm.
He gets quite a lot of gasoline in his mouth. I was just thinking how gross that would be. When you have to suck on it to get the flow going.
Yeah. I don't think I'd be able to do that in like the smooth, cool like movie way where you just don't get a mouthful of gas. I would probably I'd probably be that guy sputtering and going, "Oh God."
I swallowed some. While he's pouring the gas, Jim arms himself with a bat and just stupidly investigates the inside of an abandoned diner all by himself.
Yeah, how many times is he gonna do that? Just didn't you learn? Didn't you learn the first time, man?
Yeah. This really doesn't work out, dude.
Every single time.
So inside, he finds a bunch of dead families. I don't know. He says he's going to go look for cheeseburgers, but even if they were in there, I mean, they feel like they're going to be good. They're not going to be refrigerated. I guess he's being sarcastic. Maybe he's just curious.
Yeah.
But he doesn't really have a reason to be there.
There's something weird about that scene where, like, I mean, I guess it's so they can do the thing later on, because he bashes that kid's
Kills
head
a
in.
kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like
a kid leaps out.
Yeah.
And he pins him to the ground, and, he's a little raged child with the bloody eyes and everything.
Yeah.
And so, he's got to take him out with a bat. It's horrible, but he's got to do what he's got to do.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where I feel like maybe that part of the script needed another pass. I
don't know. It feels like a real human thing to me. I'm not saying I like that he made a mistake. It's that I think he would make a mistake. I just think that because he's not well suited to this new reality, that he can still do careless things every now and then.
I guess, yeah. That makes sense.
And also just gives you the opportunity to see some real, just sad dead bodies. There's like a lady with a dead baby, and it's really horrible.
Yeah.
It just gives you that sense to, like, there's that thing where you could investigate something, but you probably shouldn't. And sometimes you just have to be burned to know. You're like, yeah, I really shouldn't have gone in there. This was a mistake. So he comes back afterwards, and Selena asks him what he finds. He just denies seeing anything. I don't think he wants to talk about it.
I mean, how do you bring that up without bringing the room down?
Yeah. How many points is a little kid?
Good lord.
Like, what? How many points? So.
Jesus.
That might be the only time where I'll just leave a real long pause. Just let everyone just feel that. Just seep into their souls. So there's a lovely shot of wind turbines as the taxi wends its way down the empty motorway.
Mm-hmm.
Another tranquil song starts up. I don't know what this one is. It's some kind of ethereal female vocal sounding stuff. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's kind of just a road trip movie up until this point, really.
Well, that's what I was saying. This is when I'm liking the movie the most, is when it's just stuff like this.
Yeah. It's really just kind of reflective. I actually think it goes to a broader theme of the movie, that it's not really about the end of the world, but actually about the new beginning of the world.
Oh, Jesus.
Is that too sappy or something? I don't know.
No, I mean, you're not wrong. I was just in my head, I was making that it's not about the end of the world. It's about the beginning. No, yeah, you're not wrong. It was just, I'm sorry.
So yeah, they go have a picnic at some medieval-looking stone brick architectural ruins. I think it's in Surrey in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they just eat out under a tree. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the point when Frank calls them over to look at some wild horses that are just running around.
Yeah.
I forget, one of the masks is like, are they infected? And Frank's just like, no, I don't think so. But, maybe they were. It would have made a much different and more grim movie if, they just turned and ran at them.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're coming this way.
Maybe we'll get that
You have to go hide in the taxi.
In 28 months later, when they invariably make that.
Yeah, I heard that Danny Boyle is trying to make a third movie. I don't know if I want that because of how much I don't like the second film.
Yeah, I think it's probably just. I think that if they do that, it's just going to be that typical, the first movie's good, second movie isn't as good, third movie is, even worse.
More of a reprise of the first movie? Yeah, I thought maybe you thought it would be a return.
Oh, no, I don't trust franchises to do that.
Yeah. I mean, the second one has Hawkeye in it, so, all hope is lost.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Jeremy Renner, no!
Yeah, it's bumming me out because I'm thinking, probably I'm going to have to watch that Hawkeye series when it comes out. I don't want to do that.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
So, Selena and Jim walk around the ruins by themselves and have a talk. Selena admits that she thinks she was wrong to be so cynical, and that Frank and Hannah are happy because they still have one another as a family, and that maybe civilization is not so important as living a happy life with people you love.
Yeah. She's right.
That's not exactly what she said. I feel like that's the gist of what she says. She's kind of a do you say taciturn or taciturn? I don't know. Anyway.
A taciturn. It's taciturn.
Anyway,
before people get mad, it's taciturn.
Is it? Anyway, yeah. So fine. She's that. So she's few with her words, especially when she's expressing an emotion. I think just because of how much crap she's had to go through.
Oh, that's good. All right. Yeah. Oh, here. Jesus Christ. Sorry. I guess an Amazon order came in. The doorbell was rang. All right. Well, anyway, back to the movie.
Maybe that's all you need, just to have friends and loved ones around you. Jim agrees and says, yeah, that's the thought I was having too. Selena steals a kiss on his cheek and then apologizes. And then Jim says she can keep it. And I just wrote, this movie is just the bee's knees for me.
Honestly, when the movie doesn't have zombies on screen, it's so much better.
It is almost two films, I suppose, in that sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it gels pretty well, but I could see why you would see it as not that. They are very different stories.
Yeah, well, and also just the movie, when it takes that turn later on, That's when it really feels like two different movies.
I don't want to spoil things, but there are alternate endings that were worse. So
I am aware of them, but did not look them up or anything. Did you watch them?
I did.
Okay,
We'll get to that in
yeah,
time.
yeah.
In time.
Oh, hey, I just had a random thought about, I guess, like the rage virus in general. It's a little weird. I mean, I understand why they don't do this, but it's a little weird that rage zombies don't attack each other.
Yeah. Probably a smell, I would assume.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, it's like damn near impossible to do a movie where like zombies are like tearing at each other too.
Well, it kind of makes it way less of a problem. They would deal with each other pretty quick, I would assume, right?
Yeah.
It'd be a much better assassination virus because you could just release it on a public figure and everyone in the room would tear each other to bits and then they would all just die.
Yeah. It'd be like that, was that plasmid in Bioshock where you can do that in Rage or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Or I was thinking that dumb radio signal that was in the Kingsman that just makes everyone want to murder each other.
But that's a great idea.
They decide to spend the night at the ruins. Frank builds a fire.
Mm-hmm.
Selena passes out right away. So quickly, in fact, that Jim wakes her up to ask her how she fell asleep so fast. And I just love that part just because of how dumb that is.
Yeah.
Like, hey, wake up. And she's like, what? Why'd you fall asleep? She's like, what?
I would be so mad if someone did that to me.
Like, how'd you fall asleep so fast? Well, what are you bothering me for? Leave me alone.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I just wanted to sleep. You're really gonna do that to me?
You gonna do me like that?
Yeah.
So she grumbles and pulls out her bag of pills. And they ask her about it. And this is when she says, oh yeah, I qualified as a chemist. So everyone but Frank takes whatever it is she's supplying. I don't know if she specifies.
Mm-hmm.
And they fall asleep near the fire. And I was just thinking what a security risk that is. I mean, I don't want to be a bummer for what is kind of a nice moment.
Mm-hmm.
They're around a roaring fire and they just had a nice picnic. But it's a really big fire.
Yeah.
And we've already proven earlier in the movie that the infected are really attracted to light and activity and noise. And now only Frank is, well, I was going to say uninebriated, but, unaffected by a pill. Mm-hmm. So if something bad happens, he'd have to, like, just carry them away or something.
I have to admit during that scene, I was just like, sleep in the car. I've done it before. Yeah. It sucks, but you can do it.
Yeah. So Jim has a horrible nightmare that he wakes up alone and abandoned. It's great. He just, like, wakes up, everyone's gone, and there's just sheep running around on a distant hill. Are the sheep infected? I don't know. It's in a dream, so maybe it doesn't matter. But yeah, he's just calling for help. He's like, oh, wait, hello. He gets woken up by Frank, who's, just says, oh, you're having a bad dream. And he just says, oh, thanks, Dad. I thought it was nice.
Yeah, no, I thought that was nice, too. So it's cute.
Sort of mockingly, but also like a little honestly, just like, he is kind of like my dad. He's really nice. He's looking out for all of us now.
Yeah.
So then they do a little nightmare fake out where he wakes up alone again, and it's just so they can honk at him.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of a double nightmare, or a dream within a dream or anything like that in a movie.
Yeah.
It's a slight markdown for me. So upon getting to Manchester in the car, they find the entire city just burning down in the distance. And I wrote that Trash Can Man must have been down that way. I'm just going to let that sink in. Not everyone has seen The Stand, I just realized, but yeah.
Yeah.
In The Stand, there's a crazy character who just burns stuff down. He also kills the devil guy at the end, I guess. I don't know. The ending is really confusing and stupid. He like brings a nuclear bomb to the devil guy, and then the hand of God detonates it, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, that's how Stephen King does things.
So yeah, spoiler alert for that whole thing.
Yeah.
But whatever, it's dumb. It deserves to be spoiled.
Yeah. Spoilers for
I haven't seen the new one yet.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it's different.
I've heard bad things.
Bad things?
Yeah, pretty bad things. Although
I don't like the original Stand very much, but like I will say that the beginning half of it isn't super bad. Watching people die of the plague is really fun.
Mhm. I will say, Peter, I hate to inform you this, in the 2020 miniseries, the trash can man is played by Ezra Miller, who you might know as the Flash in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Oh no, it's that guy.
Yes, again.
Bringing it back.
Undefeated.
Meh, meh, meh.
That's terrible.
Okay, so they finally reach the 40-second blockade, which I guess is part of their coordinates for their destination. There are military trucks lined up all over the place. Some kind of a refugee camp is all laid out, but it's empty and abandoned.
Mhm.
Frank gets really agitated. He's pinned all of his hopes on this, on getting here and having something be there. And there's nothing. And so Selena says that they need to go, and he's just like, "Go where? Like, where are we supposed to go? What are we supposed to do?"
Yeah, I mean, I'd be pretty pissed too, to be honest.
I
Because,
mean, they had
you,
no backup plan.
yeah,
They should have at least been scouting out locations along the way, just in case they have to double back. You'd be like, "Well, we could stay at this place, like a nice house or something."
yeah,
So he goes off by himself to deflate a little bit. Frank does.
yeah.
He sits down to have a good mope, but his thoughts are interrupted by a crow that's really high up, picking at an infected corpse and cawing down at him. What a jerk crow. Like, why can't you just eat in peace? Why you gotta be bugging Frank?
Yeah, what did he do?
Well, for one thing, he goes over there and kicks the wall to shoo away the bird, and a single drop of corpse blood is knocked loose and falls right into Frank's upturned eye. It's just perfectly like the worst possible thing that could happen.
Okay, I hate this for so many reasons. I'm gonna list them off right now. One,
all right.
I like Frank. I was sad to see him die.
We all like Frank.
Yeah, it bummed me out. Two, it feels like a very contrived death. Like I'm not like I understand he probably. I mean, like, for plot reasons, he needed to die, but, like, Jesus Christ. He not come up with something better? Three, this also is the exact moment where, like, I feel like the movie takes a downturn for me.
That's interesting. Because actually one of the alternate endings starts at this moment and then has a whole other movie.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's called like the radical ending or whatever. They only had it in storyboards. They didn't film any of it because it's like a whole other ending.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'll just say it now because it's totally different.
Okay.
So in the radical one, Frank becomes infected. They restrain him, and I don't know how they restrain him, but they imprison him, and they actually want to go find a cure for him. So he stays alive, but he's a rage monster. A rage zombie. And they go find the source of the radio signal, and it's a lab. It's a science lab.
I can already tell I hate this.
Yes, you will. And it's a science lab, and it's not just any science lab. It's the science lab that had the chimps in it in the first part of the movie.
Oh my god. This is embarrassing.
And there's a man who's blockaded himself inside. He's a scientist. He refuses to open the door to let them in. He doesn't want to get infected and die. He also doesn't want to give them any of the food he has saved up. But he explains to them through, I don't know, an intercom or something, that there's a way to cure the infection. It's a real cure. And it turns out you have to do a full body blood transfusion with a viable donor.
Oh.
And as luck would have it, they have one. But it's only one of them, and it's Jim. So Jim wants Hannah to have her dad back. So Jim elects to die. He gives all of his blood to Frank. Well, they trade blood. And and so Frank's infected blood ruins Jim and turns him into a zombie. And the last shot of the movie is him strapped to the table, looking at the monitors the same way the chimp was.
Okay, that sucks so much. But but this okay, but wait, why transfer the blood to him? Why not just like store the blood safely and just let Jim die?
I don't know.
Like, am I wrong? That seems so stupid.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe someday someone will give Jim blood and sacrifice their own life.
Oh, God.
But Danny Boyle was saying that, it didn't make sense for a lot of reasons. I mean, there was a single drop of blood could totally change your physiology. So, like, why? It's not like you could go in and bleach your veins afterwards.
Yeah.
Even if all your blood was replaced.
Well, also, okay, if there was this cure, why are you not broadcasting that?
Well, I mean, I think he needed whatever that equipment is, probably like the blood transfusion devices, the ones that pump it out and pump it back in.
Well, sure, but like it's still useful information to get out there, potentially for someone.
Yeah. This alternate ending is very similar to the ending of that vampire movie with Bill Paxton. Is it Near Dark? Where there are vampires living in a van?
I don't know, man.
Have you not seen that?
I don't think so.
Oh man, we should watch it at some point. So yeah, there's a vampire cowboy, hard to say, vampire cowboy movie, and it's got Bill Paxton, and they go to a bar. They go to many bars, and they bother a bunch of people.
Okay, it is called Near Dark.
Yes, and at the end of the movie, well, see, now I don't want to give it away, but whatever, it's too late.
Yeah,
a blood transfusion can cure vampirism in that movie. I don't know why that would be. And also that just seems dumb because in a way, like when you're a vampire, it's like you're damned for your sins. So just washing it away with new blood seems like cheating. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can do all this terrible stuff and then have no repercussions. Yeah, I'll just transmute my blood.
Yeah, sorry, dude. About killing those people, but it was a vampire while it happened. Doesn't count.
Yeah, I was a vampire then. I had to, but now I'm not. So, it's cool.
Oh, there you go. That's an idea for a movie. A guy who goes around committing murders, but then uses a legal loophole by curing his vampirism.
Yeah, or just having a legal insanity, but something that periodically happens to him and he can control it or something.
Maybe. Well, I'm just thinking like vampire legal thriller. Think about it.
Sure. Court trial of the vampire.
Yeah, this is why they don't let me make movies, by the way. Because
I actually counted the seconds after Frank gets the blood in his eye. He takes 30 seconds to really start turning.
Huh.
It's nice. It actually gives him long enough to, seem shocked.
Yeah.
And then Hannah walks over and is like, "Dad, you okay?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. You can go back to what you're doing." And as she's walking away, she's like, "No, wait, Hannah, I love you very much." He gets to say his goodbyes.
Yeah, I thought that was a touching little moment.
Yeah, and then he starts flipping out, and she goes to try to help him, and he pushes her away rather roughly because he doesn't want her near when he turns into a horrible zombie.
Yeah.
Selena holds back Hannah so that she doesn't go for him anymore, and Jim stands by with his bat. Selena just screams for him to kill him. Like, kill him before it's too late. Kill him. Jim raises his bat. He's about to hit Frank, and then a hail of gunfire breaks out. Yo, it's those soldiers we were waiting for.
Oh yeah, just in time.
Just in the nick of time. Yeah. They essentially pop out of the bushes. Like they're not in ghillie suits, but they're in camouflage fatigues, so they're almost blending in. And they just blow him away. And they shoot him like a lot. They shoot him enough that he falls down dead, and then they keep shooting him in the back as he's laying there.
Yeah, some would say an excessive amount.
Well, I mean, during an infected outbreak, I guess I can't really blame them. It's just real harsh because, he's a known and beloved character. It's just like, oh, that's pretty rough.
Yeah.
So the three survivors, what's left of them now, are taken in a military caravan to an isolated compound or an estate. I think it's a mansion. There's barbed wire and sandbags everywhere. Men march around in their military fatigues. And then after they get there, their leader appears. And hey, look, it's Christopher Eccleston.
Surely we can trust this man.
Yes. He always plays a nice person. In this film, he's Major Henry West. He shakes Jim's hand and acknowledges his name, but doesn't ask for the names of Hannah or Selena. Suspicious.
Ooh, that's a good attention to detail there.
Yeah, he does give a little shake to Selena's hand, but he doesn't ask who they are or anything. In retrospect, and looking back on it now, I'm just like, huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
The place has hot water, as West tells them, so Jim has a shower. Why not?
Yeah. Why not let us take a look at his ass?
Yeah. Out the window, he sees the military men driving Frank's taxi around, doing donuts around the cook, which is another, like, just small little bad sign. You're like, that's not even your car, guys. What are you doing here?
These guys are acting like they're soldiers or something.
Well, I mean, I don't mind them doing that with their own Jeeps and stuff, but it's just the fact that they're driving a dead guy's car. They just killed this guy.
Yeah.
They have a little quiet moment, the survivors, and Selena is pretty devastated. She's grieving for Hannah's loss and for, I suppose, her own.
Mm-hmm.
Jim sort of misreads the moment and kisses Selena.
Yeah.
What a terrible moment to do that.
Yeah, like, dude, read the room.
Well, I mean, she does reciprocate a bit. I guess because she wants to feel better. But it is a weird time to do that, and so she pushes him off and just leaves the room.
Yeah.
Not a great call, Jim. Not a great call.
No.
So later on, Jim talks to Major West, Eccleston. West apologizes for the smallness of his operation. Jim says he just wanted to find the answer to infection, as anyone would.
Mm-hmm.
And West does say it's there, but might not be what Jim was expecting. So West also says that hundreds of infected are roving nearby, fleshed out by the fires in Manchester. I mean, it's not a big point. It's just nice that he points it out. It's just like, things are real dangerous out in the countryside right now. There's infected everywhere.
I do think that's a good detail for later on. Because, like, otherwise it would just feel a little bit weird, because, like, they're out in the middle of nowhere. So they bothered to explain why.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was thoughtful.
Yeah.
West gets up and says, don't worry, you're safe here, and weirdly rubs Jim's head like he's a little kid or something.
Yeah. What is that?
I don't know. I guess it's supposed to show he's paternalistic and kind of condescending or something. West takes Jim out on a tour and shows him the fortified perimeter wall, which honestly is kind of a cool thing to go check out.
Oh, yeah.
Or at least if you're into zombie apocalypse anyway. I mean, I kind of want to know what it is you're doing and why.
Yeah, I mean, perimeters are cool.
He's got a high stone wall, and then the inner lawn is surrounded by floodlights that are connected to a generator. He also mentions that the huge grassy lawn is covered in tripwires and landmines, which is great.
Seems like a real mixed bag idea.
Well, you have to very carefully mark where everything is just so that you don't blow yourself up when you're trying to maintenance anything.
Yeah, although it doesn't seem like they did that, which is like, during a zombie apocalypse, you don't have to worry about it, just mark them.
I mean, I don't think the zombies are going to care whether or not there's a colorful flag there or not.
Yeah.
Although that leads me to believe that maybe they did countenance the idea of fighting off regular humans as well.
Could be, yeah.
Which would be pretty nefarious. It seems like West mostly points out the advanced nature of his compound just because they have a wood fire boiler. It's just like, hot water, and that's the cornerstone of civilization.
I mean, it's important.
I don't know, I guess. It's better than not having it, but I just feel like it's just like this is all you got. All right. The military men are out harassing the cook in the kitchen. His name is Jones. He seems like a sweet lad, I guess.
I guess. I don't think I'd put a guy like. First of all, how did that guy get in the military?
I don't know. I mean, someone's got to peel the potatoes.
I guess, but like, Jesus.
Yeah, West is just like, "What are you preparing for us?" And Jones says, "A surprise, sir." And just like has the biggest ridiculous smile.
Yeah.
So finally, at the end of the tour, West shows Jim the last denizen of the compound. Out in an enclosed space, surrounded by bloody sheets, is Private Mailer, an infected soldier. West says that he only got infected like 2 days prior. So, thinking of it this way, the radio had promised a cure for much longer before that. So,
Yeah.
was the theory of a cure a lie until only like 2 days ago?
I would assume so.
Well, maybe they had this idea, like, well, we'll capture an infected and then we'll starve it out just to see what it does. But why wouldn't you have done it sooner? Are they so incompetent that they can't just physically capture a zombie?
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, you could just dig a pit and just let them fall in and then just look at them every couple of days. It'd actually be pretty easy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know.
Or at least, like, also, it's not like a jump scare, but they is like very close to being a jump scare. It's like, why would you keep
Oh, it kind of is, yeah.
Why would you keep those sheets with the zombie?
I was thinking he put the sheets there to keep the blood spray from going willy-nilly everywhere.
Oh, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Because there are like bloody handprints on it and stuff.
Yeah, that's an actual good reason. Yeah.
But the thing is, they walk out there and West doesn't warn him. And he almost thinks it's a little funny. So like Mailer runs at them, but he's got a chain around his neck. He's chained to the far wall. So he stops after a certain point. But he's still, you already know that they do projectile vomit stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And even if they don't, even if just like a little droplet of whatever is on his face, you know, because he's always moist. If any of that got on you, you're done. You're donezo.
Yeah.
So maybe look at them through like a plastic screen, you know, or make them wear masks or something first.
Yeah, I mean, like I appreciate a good show, but don't go a little too far.
So West says that the theory is, you know, as I said, these things don't have a future. They're not setting up a society for themselves. They're not growing grain. You know, they're not feeding themselves. They're not trying to do anything. They have no future. And eventually they'll show him how long it'll take for them to starve to death. So yay, I guess. But I want to take a moment and talk about Private Mailer. I think he's awesome.
Okay.
He's played by Marvin Campbell, who is a stuntman who did stunts in Inception, Skyfall, Casino Royale, and The Bourne Ultimatum. I think he plays the zombie great. I love the way he painfully vomits up blood when they first meet him.
Yeah.
He's just like...
He makes it look like it would really suck to be a zombie.
Yeah, it really just points it out. Just, oh, man. Mailer shows up throughout the rest of the movie. I mean, I guess that's a minor spoiler. So I think he's a great hero zombie. And I mean hero in that, you know, that movie term where, you know, he's gets a lot of camera time and there's a lot of focus on him.
Yeah.
I think he really summarizes the rage virus pretty well. So dinner time approaches. Major West enters the rowdy mess hall. Like all the soldiers are singing. And he takes off one of his subordinates' hats, which I just thought was really funny.
Yeah.
He's like, hats. He points out what they made. Tinned ham, tinned peas, tinned beans, and a special surprise, a great big omelet prepared by Jones the cook. Hooray.
Yeah.
Where did he get these eggs from?
Well, I mean, given what happens next,
Yeah.
I'm guessing they probably just looted them and didn't give much thought to it.
I actually did leave eggs for too long, and they were okay. They were a little off. That was when I was I think I was in law school, and I left eggs in the fridge for the entirety of, I think it was Christmas vacation or something, or maybe it was summer break. They actually were sitting in there. Maybe it was because they were refrigerated. It slowed down the process. But even when they do that, air gets into eggs because the the shell is permeable to oxygen slowly over time.
Yeah.
So the air that gets in there will corrode everything and make it rotten and horrible. So the way you test an egg is you put it in water. And if it floats like on its tip, it means there's too much air in there and you can't eat it because it'll poison you. So I floated my eggs and they only kind of moved a bit. So like they seemed like they were on the verge.
Mhm.
And honestly, they didn't taste great when I ate them, but they were still eatable. In the past, people used to just keep chicken eggs at room temperature. So I don't know. All I'm saying is that in the 28 days later scenario, I suppose you could still find a batch of eggs and it would be usable. But even if that's true, it wasn't true for these eggs because Major West toasts with a big old piece of omelet and just tries to eat it. And then he just very quickly just spits it all back out again, but in that funny, polite way where it's just like he's trying not to chew. It's just like, blah, you know?
Yeah.
More is the pity. So
Yeah,
West asks if...
That is funny, though, because like, he was so proud of making that omelet.
Yeah, and Jones is just like, I thought the salt could cover the taste, sir. And just like, man, that's not what salt does.
Yeah.
Scornfully, West asks Hannah if she's any good at cooking. You know, like, oh, it goes right to the girl and asks her if she's any good at cooking.
I mean, I'll forgive him for that one. You know?
Yeah. Maybe she was just close by and he wanted to take the piss out of Jones for being a terrible cook.
Yeah. I mean...
Because he does seem to be a terrible cook.
Yeah. Actually, like, comically bad, as in, like, are people this bad at cooking in real life? I mean... Or if they are...
It might not have been his first job.
Yeah. I mean, or if they are, they don't usually cook.
Yeah. This is the first time we're introduced to the soldier Sergeant Farrell, who's the resident philosopher. He makes his first offering to the movie when he points out that mankind is fairly new on a geologic scale, and that a disease wiping us all out might be a return to normality. I mean, it's sort of deep.
It's not deep. It's like high school shit.
At least he's trying.
I guess. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, I don't like this guy. Nothing he's gonna do is gonna redeem him in my eyes after this.
Wow. Damning words, Jacob.
Well, it's just like, it's the most boilerplate, nihilistic, like, well, it doesn't matter, because, you know.
Oh, well, that wasn't what I took from it. I was just thinking that maybe with the absence of people that, you know, peace would return. That basically we're bringers of chaos and trouble.
That's still, like, just... I can't support that. That's...
All right. West says, like, oh, well, before all of this started, I saw people killing people. And after it started, I still just see people killing people. To him, it's not that different. Which is honestly kind of terrifying.
Yeah, which is why this is also, like, edgy high school shit. Like, come on, man. I'm just saying. You can't draw a comparison between before the rage zombie virus and after. Come on.
Yeah. Hannah's refusing to eat. West asks her why. She says that she just wants to bury her father, Frank. It's one of those dead guys that West was just talking about. Which was actually a pretty good little burn. It's like, oh yeah, those people killing people you were talking about. Yeah. Yeah, one of those ones you just killed, that was my dad. So a landmine goes off out on the lawn, and all of the officers spring up. The floodlights flick on, and gunfire breaks out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun little scene where you can just tell that they're not super great soldiers. They're not really trying to save their bullets, and I feel like you would want to do that when you can't make any more.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how much they have. They probably have a lot, but even if they do, they're a little willy-nilly with it.
You'd be surprised. You'd, go through bullets like that pretty quick.
There is a great part where one infected is blown up by one landmine onto another landmine, so he blows up twice.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, it was amazing. Afterwards, the soldiers swagger back in, victorious after the shootout. And the soldier Mitchell harasses Selena and takes her machete. Jim tries to stop him, but Mitchell is trained, so he gets him into an arm lock. until Sergeant Farrell just comes up and knocks him off with the butt of his rifle. West reprimands Farrell and Mitchell, taking back the machete. West utters, "Slow down," which sounds like ADR to me.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Slow down. Just like, you already know this guy's a creep. I don't know if you needed to put that in there, but
Yeah,
it really hammers it home, though.
Yeah, it is kind of funny how almost all of his lines are like, "We're evil. Do you get it?"
Yeah. I guess maybe I should have brought this up slightly sooner, but there's almost no scenario, even when you first watch this, where you're like, "Oh yeah, these are good guys, and this is going to go well."
No, yeah, it's like it's when they're
Yeah,
gonna do
it's just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
So he hands the machete back to Selena. Selena stalks off immediately, and then West offers Jim a drink in his office or lounge or whatever. This is the first time watching the film that I noticed that West is opening the pricey booze that Frank had gathered up at the Budgeon's grocery store.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Huh.
Yeah, he's got the 3 black boxes that Frank had picked up.
Oh, man, what a jerk.
Yes, but also it shows how pathetic they are. That it's like, this is just stuff that Frank just randomly stole from a grocery store. And this is supposed to be like a military operation, and they just swiped his stuff.
Yeah.
Couldn't they have conducted a raid and just gotten better stuff all on their own?
It is weird
so pathetic.
how ill supplied they are, considering that they could just go out and do that.
West candidly reveals his motives, which I guess in a way shows a certain nobility, I guess, or at least for being nefarious. He explains that 8 days ago Jones was going to attempt suicide because he said there was no future and whatever. But I was just thinking that, would Major West have cared if Jones had killed himself?
I mean, I think he would.
I mean, not to be mean.
I mean, I think he would have cared, but in a purely selfish way, that they lost a guy who could be useful to him.
Well, I suppose when there's very few humans left, you kind of want to save every one of them.
Which is, I think, why he lays this out to Jim.
Maybe that's why. He just wants to try to convince him. I mean, this is not a good way to do it, but at least he's being forthright.
Well, I mean...
Although he does it in a sexist way. The better way to have done this, well, the best way would have been to not do it at all. But a better way would have been to just have this same speech he gives to Jim, but do it to all of them at the same time. I don't know that they ever really explain what the hell's going on to the women. They just don't give a damn. It shows like a carelessness and a sexism maybe.
I mean, yeah.
Like, I don't even give a damn if you know or not. I guess they pick up on it pretty quick. So yeah, West says in the end.
Peter, I'm sorry, but yeah, I think the people engaging in sex slavery might be sexists.
Possibly. Just to sum up, I don't know if I explained this very clearly. West just says very simply, I promised them women. He promised them a future, or some kind of a future, just so that humanity won't end. And that's all, I mean, or at least I can understand that concern, but you didn't have to force anything. I mean, like, why not just let them stay and, and treat them as normal people? They're probably going to choose one of you anyway, even though you guys suck.
Well, also, like...
Or at least there's the option.
Something I was thinking about, not that I'm really, like, putting a whole lot of thought into the logistics of this, but I mean, like, they're not exactly equipped to become some repopulation center.
Yeah, I think I've heard that a base population needs to be 250 genetically diverse people.
Well, I just mean that there are a bunch of dumbasses out in the middle of nowhere in just like a mansion.
I don't know. If they had just kept those people and just, left them alone, I think there wouldn't have even been a conflict. It's like, well, I mean, we would really like it if we reconstituted the human race. But I mean, it's up to you guys. It's cool.
I feel like the people who kind of go down that road of thinking about that kind of thing are inherently not going to be very reasonable people.
Well, I guess that's true. I suppose it's all just based on such flawed and terrible premises that it was always going to be dark and horrible.
Yeah.
So Jim rushes to grab Hannah and Selena. He says they got to go right now because, they do. He leads them down the stairs and almost out the door, but a soldier pops out from behind an indoor column and knocks him out with a rifle butt to the face.
Mm-hmm.
Semi-conscious on the floor, Jim can see Sergeant Farrell holding off the other officers at gunpoint. The rest slowly encircle Farrell and tackle him before you can fire at any of them. I actually thought that was a really cool scene because it shows that there was some division and disagreement amongst them about what they were doing and why.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just Farrell was the only holdout. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's part of why I give him credit. He alone, of all of the military guys, opposes sexual slavery. Way to make the minimum, Farrell.
Yeah.
It's like a participation award. West kneels down and offers Jim his life if he goes along with their, the enslavement of the two women. Jim says nothing, so West sends him and Farrell to be executed. Actually, well, he imprisons them first.
Mm-hmm. He's not a monster.
Yeah. I'll let you think about dying for a while before I make you die. I think maybe he just needed time to prepare them or something.
Mm-hmm.
So Jim and Farrell are imprisoned for a short time. Farrell rambles on for a while, but he does propose the idea that the infection did not reach the rest of the world and that the UK mainland was quarantined and isolated.
Mm-hmm.
While all that happens, life just went on. Everyone else just kind of watched it happen.
Yeah.
It's a nice thought, I guess. There's a mournful little tune as they mark the scene change to a wooded path. Jim and Farrell are being marched out to their execution spots. And there's like a pile of bodies there. So I guess they've been doing other executions, but I don't know why. I mean, maybe that's where they've been sending the corpses of the infected. Or maybe this is where other dissidents have been killed. So maybe there was a much bigger group and they've just been killing them over time.
Yeah, that was kind of
clear.
But I mean, they do have that one guy who got infected.
Yeah. Farrell warns Mitchell that things will go badly for him. And I always like a good foreshadowing threat. One way or another, you'll get yours. Well, that's not what he says. It's more like, things will go badly for you. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Yeah, okay, dude.
Yeah. Jones and Mitchell are to do the execution. What a dream team duo they are.
Okay. Can you say that I really enjoyed the casting for the soldiers? Because, they just find the goofiest looking dudes.
Yeah.
This isn't even the B team.
It's the D- team.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mitchell wants to stab Farrell to death with a bayonet, which is that's just insane.
Yeah, honestly.
As an execution method, that's brutal.
Why would you want to do that?
Because he's a maniac, I guess.
Yeah.
So Jones insists that they just shoot them quickly and be done with it. I don't think he wants any part of this, but he just has to do it.
Yeah.
Mitchell refuses. Farrell spits in Mitchell's face, for wanting to stab him to death like a dog. Mitchell, yeah, it's what I would do. Mitchell seems about to stab when Jones aims a hasty hip shot into Farrell, shooting past Mitchell and killing Farrell. And he hurts his ear. You could tell how poorly done of a shot it was. That it was just real poorly aimed, shot past his friend just to kill the guy just before Mitchell can stab him. It makes them seem real amateurish. He tackles Jones, and in the confusion, Jim just slips away.
Mm-hmm. It seems weird to me that it feels like the soldiers believe that everything in the world is as bad as it is there. But, why would they believe that?
Well, if you remember earlier, Selena did say that there was infections in Paris and New York.
Well,
and then everything went dark.
Well, yeah, but I feel like America could probably handle the rage virus. I mean, if there's
maybe,
if there's one thing that we're really good at doing, it's killing loads of dudes. It's like our thing. Yeah, it's not like they're like out in like hiding either. They're just like out in the streets.
I guess the perspective of the military guys is pretty bad. I mean, it's just, well, I guess when you're on the street or whatever, by yourself, you might think that the world has ended in the way that Selena, does or Jim does. But when you're a little organization, you spent some time, you've reached out with frequencies. Or at least I assume they've tried. Now, I wonder if they were to plug in a satellite radio, it would just work fine. They're like, oh, damn it.
Like, honestly, that would be really dark. They do just kind of assume that it's all bad everywhere, but yeah, what if it's just not?
Yeah.
Like I said,
I
that
mean,
would
maybe
make
just wait.
Well, yeah, this thing is, it would make all the violence and suffering like feel extra pointless.
Yeah. As I said before, the execution spot already had a large pile of dead bodies. So all Jim had to do was lay down amongst them. Good thing Jones and Mitchell are both kind of stupid.
Honestly, it's a good tactic.
Although, to their defense, Jones does shoot that pile of bodies later when they come back. First they run off looking for him, and then, then they double back and shoot everything. But by that point, Jim's moved on. Jim's hands are still bound. I think they're tied up.
Yeah.
But he somehow manages to scramble over a high wall topped by a barbed wire, and he loses his shirt in the process. But his hands are still bound, so that's physically impossible.
Yeah, it is interesting to note that in the scene, he does develop magical powers.
Yeah, okay, I mean, I do love this movie, but from here on out, Jim, for a while, it's like he got a star in Mario Brothers and like nothing can hurt him. And he can just knock out anything.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, he can do whatever he needs to do. He travels long distances. He doesn't die of exposure from walking around in miserable cold rain without a shirt on.
Yeah.
I mean, he's determined. Well, here's the thing. He gets over the wall. He's still bound. He collapses. He's at his wit's end. It's super bleak. He's on the wrong side of the wall. He'll probably just be killed by an infected. And then he just looks up and he sees a smoke trail. There's a plane. It's a plane flying over. And apparently no one else noticed it. To his credit, that would give you a great deal of optimism that everything will be okay. But even if it's not okay, it gives you that sense of righteousness for just how awful these military guys are.
Peter?
And also how much it won't matter if they just die.
Peter, are you saying that he was using the power of hope?
Yeah. He's powered by hope, yeah.
I see, like, this is what I mean about, like...
That's the power of love.
Yeah, okay, I was also thinking that. I'm glad you said it, but that's like... This movie feels like such a different movie from what it was at the beginning at this point.
Yeah. I don't know, in a way, I think that the optimism is something that is in Jim the whole time. I mean, he's saying nice things about everybody the whole way through. I mean, earlier on, he was talking to Selena, and she's like, we should leave Frank and Hannah behind. They're kind of a drag on us. And he's just like, no, they're good people. We should...
No, it's not so much the hope, it's the, like... Action Man-less nonsense.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It becomes very Action Man at the end.
Yeah.
So Jones spots the shirt up in the wire and laments that he got away. Mitchell insists that since Jim is tied up, shirtless, carless, and stranded on the wrong side of the wall, he might as well be dead. And Jones is just dull enough that he goes along with it, and they just head back to base.
I mean, to be honest... I probably would assume the same thing.
Yeah, maybe so.
I would not assume that he would gain Revenge Man powers and go on a absolute massacre.
Yeah, spoiler for everything that's about to happen. Well, whatever. We're right about to get to it anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got to that part in my notes where where you're talking about the airplane, and I actually wrote hope, Jacob.
Jesus.
So even when I was watching the movie, that's where I was thinking, yeah. So in the meantime, the military men are busy making the lives of Hannah and Selena miserable now that their ugly fate has been laid bare. West is the only one not openly enjoying the torment. But then again, it was his idea to do things this way in the first place. This is what he thinks survival is. So Selena and Hannah are brought up to the late lady of the house's chambers to change into outfits the military officers prefer. So, in desperation, while they're trying to strip down Selena, she kisses one of the officers to get his attention so she can make a hasty demand. It has got to be one of the juiciest, grossest looking kisses I have ever seen.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one who realized or noticed that. That was
You could see like some kind of a goo on the guy's lips. Like it looks so gross.
terrible.
Selena just does it so that she can insist that they be alone to change. Like, hey, could you just do the bare minimum decent thing and just get out of here for just 30 seconds or whatever?
Yeah.
And so, the guy's like, all right, fine. Come on, fellas. Let's get out of the room. And as soon as they saunter out of there, Selena just grabs her pill bag and gives a little handful of stuff to Hannah. And Hannah asks if Selena is going to poison her. And Selena says, no, I'm going to make you not care. Oh,
That's
it's so bleak.
yeah, that's like possibly more bleak than if it was poison.
Yeah. So an alarm rings out. It turns out it's Jim out in the rain at the refugee location. He's just cranking an alarm manually, just waiting for them. Still
That's
shirtless. He should have put on a poncho or something.
That's right, folks. Jim is shirtless and cranking it in public.
Yep. Just moist and drenched, just cranking it.
Uh,
Like, I'm not proud of it.
Yeah, we're children. This is awful.
I thought that several soldiers went out to get him, but I think it might have just been two. So I think it's Major West, the
it is
leader
just
guy.
two.
And then there's I don't know the other guy's name, but it's just a guy with a real horrible haircut. Just the worst.
Does he even say anything in the movie? But he was the one I pointed.
I don't know if he does.
He's the one I pointed to first. Is like, these guys look like absolute degenerates.
He's got just like patches of his hair shaved off. I don't understand what's going on with him at all.
It's mystifying.
So this guy with the bad haircut, he's climbing up a ladder, and in his moment of vulnerability, Jim runs up with a pipe in his hand and just bashes him in the face. And that's the end of that guy.
Yeah, not cool, man.
There's a lot of weird shots of Jim hiding behind things or darting around like he's like a force of nature or something.
That's what I'm saying.
He doesn't have a skill set.
Yeah.
It's just some guy.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame because I do like the guy stealthily taking down armed adversaries kind of scene, but it's like it comes out of nowhere.
It's improbable, and I actually like the way the rest of this movie goes, but I think I would have tweaked this part a little bit because he doesn't need to have killed soldiers or whatever. I mean, what happens for this is that he kills that soldier, he puts him in a Jeep. West goes to drive away. He finds his dead soldier there. He gets weirded out. The wires are torn out, so he can't drive away. So West just walks away in the woods. And now Jim has a gun. He stole the dead guy's rifle. That's all the scene was, and that's all the scene needed. So he uses the gun later he sabotages stuff at the base. We'll get it there soon. But
yeah,
you could have done that other ways.
Yeah.
You didn't need to do this part where you stealthily take down people. These are trained military guys. I mean, they might not be real ones or good ones. They could just be sort of weekend warrior, volunteer types. Mm-hmm. But whatever they are, they still have more training than a bike courier.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would give them more credit than this, just being ambushed so easily.
Mm-hmm.
Although, to his credit, West, when he's looking for him, does just kind of spray bullets kind of indiscriminately wherever. I just thought it'd be so funny because he's spraying the refugee tents and stuff. What if someone showed up because they were following the radio signal? Like, hey, I heard your signal.
I mean, look, there are a lot of things you could do to improve the humor of this movie.
God. Oh, the guy's name was Davis, the one with the bad hair.
Yeah, okay.
Well, whatever. He's dead now.
Yeah.
So some infected are drawn by the noise. West blows them away. Yeah, and then he wanders off into the woods. Jim, I don't know how. Here's the other improbable part. So Jim somehow made his way back onto the compound without blowing himself up. So he climbed over the outer wall. He walked across the minefield. He got all the way to the backyard area to that barbed wire. I don't know. Maybe the barbed wire was like real close on the back end, so you could just lean in.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, but that's not very good security. So for whatever reason, Jim's somehow able to get back there to where, Mailer is chained up to the wall. And so he aims with the rifle. And I'm actually really glad that he isn't a very good shot. It actually takes a few bullets to break the chain.
Yeah.
I think even if you're a good shot, you probably have to shoot a chain a lot to make it break.
Probably.
But I'm just glad that, they didn't do that dumb movie thing where as soon as you try to do a thing, it just gets done perfectly. Like as soon as you try to shoot a rope, it just breaks.
Well, yeah, I mean, even if you're decently skilled with a gun, given his condition, probably would take a couple of shots to get it right.
Well, he has had a long day. The ladies are sitting in fancy red dresses on some kind of a sofa, surrounded by armed men. It's Jones the cook, Mitchell the kind of a rapist guy, and I don't know the other guy's name. Huh?
Peter, I think they're all kind of a rapist guy.
Yeah. Well, okay, yeah, but Mitchell is the most. But I don't want to go into degrees. Like I hate this.
He's the foremost rapist.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the other guy is the guy with the silly hat that Selena kissed earlier, with the gross, juicy mouth.
Mm.
Jones sends Mitchell to investigate a noise, I think. I'm not sure why exactly he sends him away. I guess he probably hears Mailer running around outside.
Okay, this is terrible. I'm imagining one of those old greaser-style gangs where one of the guys has a nickname, Juicy Mouth.
This is my boy Juicy Mouth.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's good. Yeah, it's going to keep me going for a while.
Hannah, I guess, was able to take the pills because she's tripping pretty hard on them now.
Mm-hmm.
So she just sort of wonders aloud, like, where the searching party was, Davis and West. She thinks they're both dead. And if so, does that make Jones in charge? Is that how it works? And I was just thinking, hell no. I'm pretty sure Jones is probably like the lowest rank of anybody here.
Hmm.
Although, what if he wasn't? Oh man, wouldn't that be amazing? He actually is the commanding officer afterwards. They're like, oh my God, West, please don't risk your life. We can't have Jones be in charge. It'll be the end of us.
Spoilers. That definitely isn't the case, because I did read both of the 28 Days Later comic book tie-ins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will, since this is just a thing I do now, I guess.
Sure.
It will briefly discuss them in our last kind of roundup.
Sure. So the guy in the hat with the juicy mouth, he's just at the window.
Old Juicy Mouth.
It's a great shot because they look out the window and there's nobody there. And then the same shot, like they go back to it and suddenly Mailer's there making like a crazy face. And he just bashes the window open and just pulls him out. Actually, no, he goes indoors with him. So they're just struggling on the floor, and then Mailer just vomits all over his face. More of that projectile vomit. Yeah, I forgot. Jones is in the room. He's got a gun in his hands, but he doesn't fire at Mailer. He just fires wildly in the air. I have no idea why he does that.
Yeah, well.
I was thinking, I guess maybe he was trying to frighten Mailer away without having to shoot him. Maybe he just doesn't want to shoot anyone.
I guess. There's there are a couple of things like this. The guy who doesn't have any bullets. What the hell is that about?
Oh yeah, that's a little bit later, but yeah. You didn't plan for having bullets ever? I don't remember you firing any. Yeah, so either Jones was firing in the air or maybe he's just that bad of a shot. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Either way, Mailer infects the soldier, and that's about that for that guy. Hannah and Selena flee. They try to run outside, but are stopped by Mitchell and another soldier. Another soldier I don't know the name of. He's like, "What's going on here?" And then they're interrupted by Jones screaming and running past them, followed by Mailer. It was pretty great, actually. It had a nice Scooby-Doo feel to it.
I was going to say, kind of funny comic moment.
Jim appears at the kitchen window, and inside, Jones is hiding in a kitchen cabinet while Mailer searches for him. The soldier who had been with Mitchell appears in the kitchen doorway with his own gun trained on Mailer. He's like, "What you gonna do now?" But the guy, the juicy mouth guy, comes back. He's infected now, and he tackles the guy from the side, and they just rip him apart on the kitchen table, Mailer and him. It's pretty awful, actually.
Yeah, no, they eat him up.
And it's not like a quick death. It's like a real long, painful death.
Yeah.
Jones has to listen to it while he's trapped in the cabinet.
Yeah. You almost feel bad for the guy.
Almost.
Yeah, almost.
The remaining soldiers retreat upstairs with the women. Well, it's not super clear to me. The editing gets a little weird here, but I think that whoever's left just goes upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Jones creeps out of the cabinet and makes a break for the exit, but he gets bayoneted by Jim. Poor guy. I mean, should we feel bad?
No, probably not.
I mean, he did just kill Farrell, and he's kind of gone along with everything that they've done. I mean, he's kind of sweet in his own way, I guess, but yeah, not really. I don't feel bad.
No.
There's a weird scene where Jim is being pursued by the infected, and he sneaks through a secret door in the wall. I don't know how he knows that's there. But, after he closes it, the infected are confused, and so then they run after other noises, tracking other people. I don't recall him ever knowing about any trapdoors. That's a little weird. I found out there's a deleted scene where he goes through some floorboards to hide from them. That's equally weird. I don't know why you would do that either.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah.
Major West returns. I guess he just walked back. He finds Jones dying on the open doorstep. West comforts him until he dies. It's sort of sweet, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah, I suppose. He's there for his last moments, at least. Hannah is in the bathroom upstairs by herself when an infected soldier runs in, juicy mouth guy.
Yeah.
The infected he's transfixed by the full-length mirror in the corner, and Hannah is hiding behind it. They do that thing where they get super close, but he doesn't know she's there, but she does, and she's trying not to make a noise. Jim is running around the halls of the mansion now, calling out for Hannah and Selena. He barricades himself in a lovely room painted with flowering trees. In the foreground, however, are two creepy-looking dolls that are looking at each other. I don't know if you noticed that. It's just weird looking.
Well, my phone's dead.
Oh. Maybe you should plug it in.
Yeah, well, too late for that.
Okay. Oh, yeah. And it's weird because you don't notice him at first, but there's another soldier hiding in the room. I mean, I don't remember this guy ever doing anything bad, but he's just another guy. I mean, he's involved, I suppose.
Yeah, look,
I'm sure
sorry,
he was in the background smirking.
Yeah, I'm sorry. They're all complicit.
He shouts out that he hasn't got any more bullets. And so the infected attack the door, I guess because they're making too much noise. And Jim just climbs out the window as they're bursting in and attack the ammo-less soldier. And he dies a terrible death, too.
Oh, yeah.
Selena and Mitchell are up near the attic. He's kind of holding her hostage. Huh?
It was kind of his fault. Just put bullets in your gun, stupid.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. Maybe they were just out of ammo, but they didn't want to admit it. I mean, that'd be weird, too.
Yeah, well, that'd be weirdly dark.
Where they don't want to acknowledge that they're going to be doomed soon, too. Selena's being held hostage by Mitchell somewhere up near the top of the house. Jim re-enters up from above somewhere, like through a window. Yeah, so he's up in the attic above them. And see, I keep losing track of where Jim is on these notes. I keep saying Jim's here, and then Jim's in this other place. I feel like there's some weird editing here. So This is where he seems to be now.
Yeah.
Because he does jump down. Mitchell makes some threats to Selena, and then Jim appears and just starts bashing his head against the brick wall just over and over again. Selena doesn't really know what's going on. Blood is spraying all over the place, getting all over Jim. Jim knocks him to the ground and then just forces his thumbs into his eyes.
Classic.
Oh yeah, it's very memorable, very awful.
Yeah.
And that high, almost like silly scream that the guy gives, like ah!
Yeah. Listen, kids, if you ever really want to fuck someone up, go for the eyes. Chimps know it. Now you do too.
So Selena thinks Jim might be infected, so she grabs her machete. He gets up all creepily without saying anything, and then he sort of starts to rush at her. I'm just like, what are you thinking, dude?
Psych.
Yeah, whoops. So she swings the machete, but stops just before hitting him. Can't bring herself to do it. And, he looks at that. He looks at the machete. He looks back at her and says, that was a bit more than a heartbeat. Ba-da-ba. It's very sweet. They kiss.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they said it a few times, throughout the movie. She's like, listen, if something goes wrong, you're gone in a heartbeat. But, it's kind of a movie thing, just like, the thing you said earlier. Yeah.
It's cute. It's cute.
It's cute. It's a nice little moment in an extraordinarily bleak scene. He just ruined a man's eyes with his thumbs. So I'm okay with the silly line. They kiss, although they kiss a little weirdly because when Hannah comes in, she hits him with a vase. I thought he was biting you. Which is a great joke. And then he sees her, looks her straight in the face, is like, are you stoned? Which is also a great joke.
Yeah, it's that.
It's like boom, boom, boom. Hitting all the notes. Hannah, Selena, and Jim are together again at last. They run out into the rain and get to the car so that they can drive away. But unfortunately, West is sitting within in the back seat when Jim throws open the door. You killed all my boys. So he pulls a pistol and shoots Jim in the stomach. Hannah climbs into the driver's seat and puts the car in reverse. She parks the car at the doorway of the mansion, and Mailer breaks open the rear window and drags a screaming Major West into the mansion to his death.
Yeah. What a way to go.
Yeah. Another slow, horrible death, I'm sure.
Oh, at least you can get his eyes gouged out. Jesus.
Yeah, really.
That's one of those things where you save that for the main villain. Good lord.
Well, Mitchell said a lot of unfortunate things to Selena, so I wonder if that was triggering Jim in a way. It made him want to kill him extra bad.
I suppose so. I'm just it's like there aren't many movies that do it, but it is kind of, I guess, funny in a way when there's an especially graphic death for the guy who isn't the big bad, and then the big bad just kind of gets blown up or whatever. It's like, what was that about?
I guess he just really hated that guy.
Or shoot,
or maybe they had another story.
Yeah, or was it Jurassic World when that one woman has a 5-minute long death scene for no reason?
Yeah, she was nice. She was babysitting the kids.
I know.
And they kept getting away from her, which was not her fault. And then, then she gets carried away by a pterodactyl.
Yeah.
And picked at and dropped a couple of times, and then that giant thing comes out of the water and just bites her in half. Well, actually, in whole, I guess, just crushed her.
Well, yeah. It's why? What was the reason for that? It's so messed up.
She didn't deserve that. Selena helps Jim into the car. West dies. They drive away, and as they do, Mailer stands in the doorway and just howls victoriously into the rainy night.
It's a good one.
I don't know why. I'm pleased by the chaos has won type thing where the thing is just yeah, I did it. I killed so many of them.
Yeah.
The compound gates are locked. So if there's a compound gate And if it is locked, then how the hell did anyone get it? Maybe West locked it on his way back. Because otherwise,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess because Jim somehow got in close enough to release Mailer. So maybe the door was open then, but then they locked it later. I mean, it's the only way I can explain it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jim just tells Hannah to just bash through it. And when they hit, they're like ejected out of their seats and they do like a freeze frame like it's like a 1970s movie or something, or like
Yeah.
Dukes of
Record
Hazzard or
scratch.
something. Yeah.
So you're probably wondering how I got into this situation.
Yeah. 28 days later. ... This, by the way, this is the point when there's several different alternate endings. So I'll just go with the real one now, and then we'll go to the alternates after that.
All right.
So this is the real ending, everybody. Jim wakes up in a nice bed in a nice cottage. He's still recovering from the gunshot wound. A Finnish jet flies over the English countryside where infected lay dying of starvation.
Mm-hmm.
It is actually pretty cool looking. They must have gotten some really emaciated looking guys to just look hungry and just lay on a street.
Yeah. Also, can you think of any other zombie movies where like starvation of the zombies has been a thing?
Not
Yeah,
really.
just like it's like it feels like something that should be able to happen to zombies, but
Yeah.
it just doesn't come up. It's interesting.
It does seem like certain zombies and certain things get kind of dormant and then they wake up when something's nearby.
Yeah.
I guess they want excuses to have them continue to be a threat. Otherwise, it's just a temporary thing that happens and then goes away.
Sure.
So Selena is busy preparing fabric. Hannah bursts in and says she hears it coming. They rush out with armfuls of blankets and stuff. They lay it out in a wide grassy bank. The giant letters that say hello. Oh, I forgot. There's a real brief footage of what's-her-face, Selena reviving Jim in an abandoned hospital. So I guess it worked because he's alive. And while he's unconscious, you briefly see written on a hill it says hell, but it's actually the giant letters hello, and they just hadn't finished the O yet. So it's like a little misleading. I kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
The jet flies over them, and Hannah says, "Do you think he saw us that time?" And they go to credits. Yay!
I like that the ending is like it's hopeful.
Yeah. No, it's a really nice ending. And it has a nice little song at the end, too. I only know it's a Finnish jet, by the way, because I read it somewhere, because I don't know that language at all.
Yeah, I looked it up on Wikipedia.
So, here's one of the alternate endings. There was that little bit of footage Jim getting revived. So there was that footage of Jim being revived on an operating table, correct?
Yeah.
Well, in the first alternate ending, they aren't able to save him. Selena tries very hard, and he doesn't wake up. Selena is crushed. Hannah and her go on alone and sort of end out they just walk out a hospital door, kind of swings around and just shuts. And that was actually the original ending of the movie. They filmed it and had it as the original for screeners and stuff.
Huh.
Danny Boyle calls this the true ending, actually.
Really?
Yeah, just a real bleak ending. But the audiences didn't like it. For one thing, I mean, they thought that the two ladies were doomed after they left the hospital. I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, it's just too sad of an ending after everything that happened. You just have them die kind of dumb at the end.
Yeah.
Boyle was saying that he wanted a circular thing to Jim's character, where he starts on a hospital bed and then he ends on one. I don't think that matters at all.
No, I can see that, but I feel like I don't know. It's weird to say this, but I feel like if you're gonna have an ending that dark, you might as well go all out with it. Like
Just
The Mist.
everyone die?
Oh yeah, like the Mist has one of the greatest dark endings.
Oh,
Also,
I hate that ending.
It's so good. I mean, like that one's so dark that it's honestly kind of funny. I mean, it's
we'll
like
get into it. I'm sure eventually we'll actually watch that. But yeah,
that's true.
needless to say, that one's got The Mist has a real rough ending. without going into the details.
Sure.
So that was ending number 1. The focus groups didn't like it, so then they changed it. So then ending number 2. Jim dies on the operating table again.
All right.
Selena and Hannah go live in the cottage, that's seen in the ending we've seen. Selena delivers the lines she gave to Jim in that scene to a chicken who is inside instead. And then they go lay out the letters, but but all the scenes of Jim are just removed.
Mm-hmm.
It's a similar ending to this one, except, Jim's dead.
See,
and then the third ending was the...
Wait, is the third one, the Finnish pilot is revealed to be a rage zombie?
Yeah, they've learned to fly. Now, the final ending, actually, we've already discussed. That's the totally different ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, where Frank is restrained and Jim gives his life to save it. So basically, Jim dies in all of them.
Mm-hmm. Well, fun little fact, the comics give some insight into Jim's fate after the movie, and it's not much better.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's too bad. Well, lay it on me.
Yeah, so basically, Jim is arrested for his role in the death of Major West and his soldiers, and he's scheduled to be executed by firing squad. And they don't rescue him or go into that at all. As far as I know, it's an official tie-in, so unless they ever go back to Jim in any of the other 20 whatever movies, that's his fate. He gets executed.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That aside, that comic was fine. There's another one which is kind of interesting. It's an anthology of just like different stories. Which actually, we were talking about what the virus was created for, and they give an explanation which I don't really like, and I forgot about it until I was looking over a summary. Basically, the scientists were going to spread around a virus that it's contagion that controls people's aggressive impulses, and they genetically modify the Ebola virus for some reason to carry it, and however, this causes the virus to mutate, reversing the effects. Now, I don't like that because it explicitly goes against what the scientists said in the beginning about having to understand before you hear.
Well, I mean, he might have just been talking out of his butt or something, but...
I guess, yeah. It's just I don't really like that. One of the stories is fun because it's like in the initial stages of the infection, and it shows one of the freed chimps biting someone.
Yeah.
Which is yeah, I mean, I suppose they had to have to get it going.
Yeah.
Which is just kind of funny because it has it's darkly funny because it has wires in its brain and whatever. And it's just I think they were out in a picnic and this thing just jumps out and bites a guy. How surreal would that be?
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
They're fine. You don't really, you don't get a lot out of it to further insight into the story or whatever. It's just kind of
Okay. If you're interested, you can check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wrote for the alternate endings that all the alternate endings suck. I love that this movie has a good ending, or at least a happy ending. I mean, after everything they've been through, it'd be so horrible to just end on a sour note.
Yeah, the first alternate ending you talked about with the hospital, I feel like that's fine, but it just wouldn't have. I feel like I'd have less of an opinion of the movie.
Yeah, I think it'd be a little less memorable and I'd have less fondness, certainly.
Yeah.
Most of the wide shots of London had moving traffic that were edited out with CG. And the major London thoroughfares were cordoned off for filming for only minutes at a time. Danny Boyle was only able to do this by using small portable cameras, so they could get in there really fast, film Cillian Murphy standing around in garbage, and then just take down the cordons right away.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, that
Pretty
makes
cool.
sense. That's interesting, though.
Yeah, they flipped over that bus in that one scene, the double decker. They flipped it over and unflipped it in around a half-hour period of time.
Huh.
So it's just long enough for Cillian to stand there, film it a little bit, and then they moved it,
Yeah.
which is pretty great. This movie single-handedly reinvigorated the entire zombie genre when it was largely dead. It was. It
So we
also
have
was
this movie to blame.
Yeah, you can blame this one. It also was the first introduction of fast zombies, which numerous subsequent films would utilize, such as Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead, made just 2 years later. The movie only cost $8 million to make and grossed $10 million on the opening weekend, and eventually $85 million worldwide.
Dang.
It was a huge success.
I mean, that's.
I looked up various rankings, and it is currently the 12th highest grossing zombie film ever made. Or at least a website called workandmoney.com said so, and I choose to believe it.
Sure, why not? What other movies beat it out?
Most of them were Resident Evil films.
Yes, I knew it.
Also, I think not the remake, the sequel, 28 Weeks Later, I think actually grossed more. So did World War Z, even though that movie sucks ass.
Well, jeez, yeah. That's a bummer.
I mean, I don't want to poop on it, but yeah, I'm not fond of that movie. I think that one's real high up too, which is a shame.
Yeah. We will probably not be discussing that movie.
Oh no, I'm not going to say that. I'll discuss anything. But if we do, I'm gonna be pooping all over it. So
Yeah,
have that to look forward to.
Dude, that's gonna be miserable. We're both gonna hate it.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to when we finally do our first podcast about a movie that we both just hate. I don't know about you, but those are my favorite podcasts where I just hear someone just dripping with contempt for a movie, or whatever it is they're talking about. Oh God, this is just so terrible.
That could be your job. I don't know if I want to subject myself to that.
All right, we'll see. So, Rotten Tomatoes has this film at 87%, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Metacritic has it at 73. I think that's good, but I'm actually not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, Jacob, on a scale from 1 to 10, how do you rate 28 Days Later?
God, that's a tough one. Because there are parts of this movie that I really like, but yeah, just like all the it's funny to say, yeah, like all the stuff with the zombies just is a complete turn off, and the whole revenge spree at the end it does nothing for me. And okay. I guess I don't know. It's hard to say. I guess I suppose 6.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say it's an average. I wouldn't say it's an average movie. I mean, it is it's a well-made movie. It's just there's just too much of it that is just not my thing.
Yeah, I know. I think you've stated your case pretty well. I mean, I don't disagree with anything you've said, more or less. So for me, the movie is really well acted. It's masterfully shot. I think the cinematography is beautiful. It is paced fairly superbly. It doesn't ever really slow down too much, even at the slower parts. I mean, that sounds weird to say, but you know what I mean. Like, it doesn't drag.
Yeah.
The soundtrack is amazing, which I already told you. I love a good soundtrack.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The hopeful message is great, such as it is. The characters are reasonably well developed, mostly warm, lovable, and interesting, I think.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the soldiers, all the characters who are part of the group feel like, people. They're not cartoon characters.
Yeah. And juxtapositioned against that is the brutal violence and the terrifying monsters. And we even get to have man be the real enemy at the end, which is always a plus in my book.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's true, but like, you didn't have to say it.
Yeah, I know. I rate this really highly. I'm going back and forth between an 8 out of 10 or a 9.
Oh well.
I think just it gets a little marked off because it's a zombie movie and there's only so much you can do with that, with that combination of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what? Heck with it. I'm going to go with 9 out of 10.
Okay. Well.
I think it's masterful and transformative. Maybe not perfect, but also Danny Boyle doesn't even say it's a zombie film, so I don't know what the movie's trying to be if it's not that. What, an infected film?
Mm-hmm.
So, oh yeah, I got once again, I've checked out the IMDb keywords. This movie has 208 plot keywords in total.
All right.
I've chosen the top 20, and now I shall read them out. I think they actually are listed by importance because I noticed that people list relevance. So I think that these top ones people list as the most relevant, but I'm not certain. So anyway, here's the top 20. Virus.
Sure.
Military.
Mm-hmm.
London, England.
Yeah, definitely.
Zombie apocalypse.
Actually, the director does not consider it to be a zombie movie, so this one's wrong.
Yeah. It's an infected film. Laboratory.
Oh yeah, it's start. But
That's a start.
Yeah.
And at the end of the weird alternate ending that doesn't really exist.
Thankfully.
Yeah. Survival.
Definitely.
Epidemic. I think that's more Danny Boyle's speed, I think.
Yeah.
Zombie.
Do we have to go over this again?
Well, the next one is zombie survival. I feel like they're just repeating themselves now.
All right.
Oh, here's a good one. Rage. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Big part of the movie, being angry.
That might have been a good alternate title for the film. Just call it Rage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
Jacob has his doubts.
I mean, it's like,
Huh?
I was gonna say it just feels like such a generic name. I mean, like 28 Days Later, at least like there's like something to that.
Oh yeah, I guess I just sort of like the shortness of it, and it sort of sums it up. Like, yep, that's what this is about. But yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose it's more creative and novel the way it is.
Plus, in the future, it would end up being confused with Nicolas Cage's 2014 revenge thriller, which is also known as Tokarev.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I was going through Wikipedia. This is what happens.
All right. Next one is Coming Out of a Coma. I mean, absolutely.
Yep. I mean, that's like one of the best scenes in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, naked Cillian Murphy, right?
Yes. Please, specifically what I'm referring to.
Ghost Town.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sort of. End of the World. No.
No.
Incorrect.
I mean, yeah. Sorry. Because they made
guess
a sequel.
they believe it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on. They made a sequel. It can't be the end of the world if they made another movie.
Chimpanzee.
And how?
Zombie Outbreak. I mean, I guess.
Fine. They can have it.
You're not going to like this either. Zombie Attack.
It's fine.
Okay. Pubic Hair. Ooh, all right.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are correct.
Post-apocalypse. I mean, I guess that's sort of true.
Sure. Yeah.
Animal research.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And actually, that was the 20, but I threw in one extra bonus keyword. Interracial relationship. Ding, 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 ding.
Sure, but like, why that?
Like, why are people looking for this? I don't know. Maybe it's a positive thing.
I guess I just can't help it. Like,
I mean, it should be, right?
Yeah, I know, but like, I can't help but like imagine just like the kind of guy I'm thinking of, just being like, people need to know about this, ruin the movie. You see this
I
trash.
was really turned off.
Yeah, you see this trash all over the place now.
Oh, I hate the internet. I hate knowing that there are people like that.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay. So, I think that's about it, Jacob.
I think so too.
Yeah, I want to thank you for taking part in our podcast together. And I want to thank all of you listening to us ramble on. Just so you know, Jacob chooses the next one, and I will wait with bated breath. What will it be?
We'll see. I didn't figure it out, so yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think so.
Yeah.
Okay. So until next time, I've been Peter.
And I've been Jacob.
And this has been Gorman on Gore.
Hashtag release the Snyder Cut.
Oh boy.
Okay, Jim, I've got some bad news.